Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here is Monday morning, and we're doing Monday Moment. And today's Monday Moment is we're taking a moment to celebrate that there are prominent Canadians in the finals this year. Yeah, this is a build over the years. The history of Canadians in the NBA. Well, the percentage of them being in the NBA has not been very big for most of the history of the NBA. There maybe have been, like, for a lot of the years, a handful of maybe like four or three or five in the league at any time. When I was a kid, when in the 80s, there were maybe like 4 or 5 Canadian players, so that's it, if even that. And now we've expanded to like 30 NBA Canadian players at this point. And that's just part of the expansive growth of the game of basketball in Canada. And the Air Canada Carter effect is a huge part of it. The championship will have ramifications in the years to come also. And things like Scotty Barnes, things like DeMar DeRozan, those things add to more and more kids playing. And of course, from the documentary Inbound, we learn more about how immigration to this country bolstered basketball in Canada also. But yeah, this year, 4 prominent Canadians will be playing in the finals, including the NBA MVP of the whole entire league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And that we should be very, very proud of. It's a symbol and it's a sign of Canada arriving more and more as an international basketball power. Now, not just SGA, you've got his partner Lou Dort and Ben Mathurin, both from North Montreal. And that's showing that that region in that particular area of Canada is showing a real promise for talent coming out, just like Chris Boucher, Lou Getz, and Benedict. There's going to be more young players coming from the province of Quebec and specifically North Montreal. So that's fantastic. Then, of course, there's the young Andrew Nebhart from the Toronto area. This kid, it's an interesting thing, Andrew. Andrew really is like one of those people that was affected by the Carter effect. Vince Carter probably had a very prominent effect on Andrew Nebhart, along with people like Chris Bosh and DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And, the funny thing about Andrew is he's a young guy, hasn't been in the league for very long. And, well, Andrew Nebhart was not in the league when the Raptors won the championship. He was a fan. He was a kid that went to Gonzaga and was not in the NBA yet. So he was big time rooting for the Raptors to win their championship. Big time, trust me. And I bet sometimes Andrew Nebhart has to pinch himself that he gets to play next to the great Siakam, a man that helped bring the title to Canada in Toronto. He's got to love him for it, and he's got to love playing next to him at this point on the Pacers and going into the finals. Of course, we could say Siakam's honorarily Canadian also. So there's 5 Canadians in the finals. It's fantastic. Now, last year we had 4 Canadians in the finals: AJ Lawson, Omax, O'Shea Brissett, but a lot of them were bit players that did not have a prominent role in their finals. They weren't rotation guys even. Some of them didn't even play or got to play very, very little. But this time, instead of a supporting role in the finals, Canadians will have a main role, a starring role, because SGA is the best player in the league, and he is Canadian. So, yeah, I'm excited about the rise and the prominence of Canadian basketball in the world. And once again, we got to take stock of this achievement for our country that, we're arriving more and more. And this is symbolic of it, the Canadian content in the NBA finals. So that was kind of my, I just want to take a moment and make note of this and make a stream about this subject, because I do really feel like it's very important. And this is a subject we cover on this Raptor Freak stream, Canada basketball and the ever-growing popularity of the sport in Canada, and also the rise of more and more great athletes from this country playing the sport itself, both men's and women's. I saw somebody saying yesterday that the Toronto Tempo next year should try and get Kia Nurse on their team. I was like thinking about that. That'd be cool, man. I'd love to see Kia Nurse suit up and be on the inaugural Toronto Tempo expansion year team. That would be fantastic. I wonder if she would be into that too, to be special part of history the very first ever Toronto Tempo roster, very first year, she probably can look back on this 30th anniversary of Raptor season and look back and look at how Tracy Murray, Oliver Miller, Damon Stoudemire, Jean Tabak, Ed Pickney, Willie Anderson, Alvin Robertson get viewed 30 years later as the original Raptors. So it might be pretty fun for Kia Nurse, a great Canadian female basketball player, to go out there and kick some ass for Toronto on the Toronto Tempo next year. Let's make it happen, Teresa. Can you figure out, Monica Rogers-Wright, how to get Kia Nurse home and be on the inaugural Toronto Tempo team? She's on Chicago Sky right now. And, well, I think she looked real good in that hydrogen blue and Bordeaux. Yeah. I'd be all about that. That's right. Trevor J's here. Good morning to you, Trevor. Stop focusing on who let you down and appropriate the ones you like lifted you up. And appropriate the ones you who lifted you up. Okay. You're saying, so forget about putting all your attention on the negative ninnies, the ones that have been haters, the problem people. And you know what? Go and get more attention towards the people that have been positive, caring, loving, and awesome in your life. I got that. Good stuff. Thank you, Trevor J, for your words of wisdom. And I appreciate your support on this channel. You really are a rock. You are a rock, man. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth Brown Man, our trivia leader for the 2025 Raptor Freak trivia season. It's looking really good. Like Smooth Brown Man will be put on this trophy back here, a little plaque that says 2025 Smooth Brown Man, Raptor Freak trivia champion for this year, is getting closer and closer. In fact, when they crown the Larry O'Brien champion of the NBA, that is when the championship for our trivia will go down. And like I said, the lead for Smooth right now is about 5,000 points. And that's pretty insurmountable for about 3 weeks of competition. We may not even have that. We'll have to see how quick this series goes. Because if Oklahoma City starts sweeping, there could only be there's going to be trivia tomorrow. There'll be trivia next week, I'm sure. But there may only be one more trivia after that. So there's maybe only 3 more weeks of Raptor Freak trivia along with the classic cards. And then we roll it all back and start over 0-0. The season starts immediately after that for next year. And we run on our trivia season all the way to the next Larry O'Brien next year. And we'll see who gets their name on the trophy for 2026. So, yeah, Reggie, good to hear from you. Saying in reference to Doug Smith, there's mutual interest between the Raptors and Giannis. Yeah, Doug. I know you like to do your job. I know you like to stir the pot. I know that you probably have an inside stuff on this. But I'm going to say this once again, guys. As much as he's saying this, Giannis is also saying in other areas that he's fine in Milwaukee and doesn't want to be traded. So there's a lot of noise around here that, maybe there's a little smoke, but that doesn't mean there's any fire. And I don't know, man. In some ways, it's like I've thought about this with Giannis a bunch of times. And once again, the only deal I do for Giannis is Brandon Ingram, Ochai Agbaji, and our pick for Antetokounmpo. We do not trade anybody else. We do not trade Scott. We do not trade RJ. If we have to trade Emmanuel, I may do that, but I won't trade Scott or RJ for Giannis. And if Milwaukee's playing hard ass and they want Scotty Barnes, I'm just going to say no and hang up on them because I already know what Scotty does as a leader on this team. And I have no fucking idea what Giannis would do on this team as a leader. So in some ways, I'm like, look, if Masai knows that this is the best move for our team, I'll trust him. If he does something like crazy, that he does something like that, I'll trust him to see how it works out. And, because he gets that favor from his history and how he's done things, that when he traded DeMar, I was like, man, you're crazy. And I was so mad at him, but it worked out and it was the right move. And I learned you got to trust Masai, but I don't see this totally, man. The noise is kind of 50-50. It's not like he's hardlining out of there like Jimmy Butler did last year in Miami. He is not totally, this is the thing. He has to really want to leave from Milwaukee to get rid of him, to trade him, to do anything with him. They will hold on to him to the bitter end unless he is absolutely hardlining like Jimmy or Dame Lillard in the last 2 years and saying, no, I got to be out of here. I'm leaving no matter what. I don't think they'll put the energy into trying to move him unless he's adamant that he wants to leave. And I don't think Giannis is adamant about wanting to leave. In some ways, his loyalty to Milwaukee is still there, guys. I'm going to say this. In some ways, he's only known Milwaukee. And in some ways, the DNA of Giannis and the way he is, he's a very loyal person. So, man, I don't know. I feel like there's smoke, but there's not necessarily any kind of flame or fire, is what I'm saying here. I'm sure he has mutual interest in the Raptors, but he won't publicly say it completely. Maybe Doug Smith will hear the murmurs, but once again, he may have mutual interest with the New York Knicks. He may have mutual interest with the LA Lakers. He may have mutual interest with the San Antonio Spurs, the Miami Heat. I mean, we could apply this to a lot of people probably, that Giannis may have mutual interest with them. So I don't know. Doug Smith, I feel like stirring the pot here, man. He's just stirring the pot. Trevor J saying WNBA game yesterday. Liberty beat Connecticut and Phoenix beat the Aces. And beat LA. Sorry, when you jam them up together, man, it looks like the Las Vegas LA VA, man. You mean Sparks. Oh my gosh, Trevor. Sometimes deciphering your comments are like code. Aces beat Seattle and Minnesota beat Golden State Valkyries. Yeah, and those are great outcomes for those games. Well, let's talk about the outcomes for our WNBA Fantasy League, for our Raptor Freak WNBA Fantasy League. Good stuff. We have 3 undefeated teams after week 2, and they are Fiercy. Fiercy is 2-0 after beating Cool Cat this week. Kareem is also 2-0, full ass 2-0 in the record. And this guy right here is 2-0 after beating Logical Raptors Fanatic this week. And I am number 1 in the league, baby. That's right. I'm going to run through this league this year. That's right, MK. I'm coming to get your championship trophy, and I am not going to let you three-peat. I'm going to make it harder than ever for you. This is the Return of the Jedi, the third of the sequel. You were Empire Strikes Back and New Hope. I'm going to come in as dun, 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 dun. I'm going to be Return of the Jedi, man. I'm coming. Also, congratulations to other teams that won this week. Let me see real quick. They were, where is that? It was, man, I wish they would just show me the scoreboard. Here it is. The scoreboard for last week was, the winners were myself. Meredith won his second matchup against James. Fiercy and JP beat Kaz, and Kareem won too. So yeah, so get your lineup set up. Mike, you would have done way better if you're actually paying attention to your team, Logical Raptors Fanatic. So you gotta do some managing, especially if you're gonna play me. I'll beat your ass if you don't. That's right. That's right. Smooth saying he is not saying a trade is likely, that just that there's interest, and Toronto's uniquely positioned to trade for him without disrupting the roster too much. I agree with this. I think that we do have assets and a little bit of a surplus, but still, their overtures have been mixed. The signals from Milwaukee and Giannis, that Giannis, at the end, it seemed like, okay, yeah, everybody's making hype. Milwaukee fails again in the playoffs. Giannis is going to want to leave, because that's kind of what he's been saying the last few years when they failed and gone out early. But this year, I'm going to say this right now, the energy of Giannis going out was not as frustrated and angry as it was like 2 years ago when they fired Budenholzer. Think about that. When they got embarrassed by Miami in the first round, a play-in team, that there was a lot more negative, crazy energy around the Bucks franchise with them firing Budenholzer and pointing fingers, and Giannis really being more public with being angry and upset with the direction of the team. Now, last year, the confusion of Adrian Griffin to Doc Rivers, and then this year, a full year of Doc Rivers. I don't know. In some ways, I don't see the angstiness out of Giannis as bad as he was the 2 years before. Like, his energy seems a little bit more accepting and being kind of like, well, you know what? We are a top team and we can keep trying. And there's no guarantees if I go somewhere else. And, I don't know. I feel like he was much more angsty to leave the Bucks 2 years ago than he is currently right now. So I don't know. I don't know how to read this exactly. A lot of this is bullshit, honestly. Most of this is bullshit, Smooth. And I don't know what's for real and what isn't until it happens. And that's usually the case with what I'm going to say about this kind of stuff. I do agree that out of all the teams that could possibly take on Antetokounmpo post Milwaukee, we are one of them. I do agree with this. And obviously the connection with Masai is ace up our sleeve. But also at the same time, he said on How Hungry Are You? He wouldn't play for the Raptors. He did say that. No, I will not play for the Raptors in the future. So we'll have to see. Trevor Jason, they're also saying the Knicks are the ones interested in Giannis and Jaylen Brown. That's interesting. Jaylen Brown's name is getting floated around now all of a sudden that he may be available this offseason. I mean, if I was the Celtics, would I want to keep Brown or Tatum? I know which one I would rather keep. But hey, it's the Celtics. They can go ahead and make their own hierarchy of which franchise player is more important to their team before they trade one off finally after years and years of being in partnership. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see if Jaylen Brown is going to change teams this summer. That would be very interesting to see. It would be very interesting to see. I'm saying, yeah. Reggie's saying, as much as I don't like the guy, he is hang on, it jumped. As much as I don't like the guy, he is a respected Raptors insider, and if it's coming from him, it's real. Well, I won't doubt what Doug Smith is saying, but in some ways, if you think about what he's saying, Reggie, it's not really saying anything. There's a mutual interest. Okay. All right. What do you mean? Like there's a mutual interest? Like Giannis likes Toronto. I don't know. This they could have said this in 2020 and the same thing. There's a mutual interest between Giannis and Masai and Toronto. And Masai's moving guys to get ready for Giannis. But it didn't happen, did it? I'm just saying, man, the mutual interest can be there, but it doesn't mean the realistic legwork and settings for it to happen are there. And that's why it's kind of a cop-out statement that he's saying there, because it's bullshit. It doesn't even mean anything. And it could very well be true. But that also, once again, I'm going to say this, Antetokounmpo has not demanded a trade anywhere. And as far as I'm concerned, the chances of what he's going to do is he's most likely to just stay in Milwaukee, is what I'm seeing. So in some ways, it's like, Brian Winders, Doug Smith saying the same stuff. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'll agree with this. Now, there may be, like, this is probably what's happening. Bobby's on the phone. Bobby's exploring. Bobby's doing his job as the general manager of the Toronto Raptors, and he's calling around, and he's seeing, guys, this is what I've got. I've got the 9th pick. I've got this, and this. Would you be interested in doing this with me on this? And he's just calling around. And maybe there's other GMs that are like, yeah, Brian, Bobby just called me, and he's calling me to find out what I might do. You know, it sounds like the Raptors are doing big things. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do anything. I mean, that's all this kind of rumor shit is always so full of crap. And when Winders does, oh, the Raptors are calling people and they're interested in doing a big, ambitious move, it's just crap. It doesn't mean jack shit. It's not news. They're rumors. And, this is normal for GM jobs, is that they call around and they try and feel out for big moves. So I don't think this is anything different for the day of the job of Bobby Webster. And it's just Brian Winders stirring the pot and kind of saying, it could very well be this, guys. Let's think about this, Reggie. What if these NBA insiders, not necessarily Doug Smith, but Brian Winders and people at ESPN, see the Raptors roster? They see what we're set up to do with our youth movement. They see that we got Brandon Ingram, and if he's healthy, they see that we may add up to something that is a lot more than we should be. And maybe they're scared. And maybe one of their ploys is to start bullshit rumors and cause all kinds of weird, like, noise and confusion about the Raptors needing to make a move when they don't. And then Raptors fans take it and run with it and start getting all in a tizzy about making trades in their heads and doing this and that. Could this just be a ploy by ESPN to mess up the very, very good thing we've got coming because they want us to make the move too extra and screw up our chemistry and screw up the fantastic roster we have right now as we stand pat? I mean, seriously, would they not be devious enough to say, oh, the Raptors actually look like they're set up to be very successful next year? Let's go ahead and stir the pot and put a bunch of shit. I'll stir my fingers in the air like it's the pot. And I'll say, oh, the Raptors are uniquely positioned and they're calling around and they have ambitious ideas in their heads. Well, that checks. We have ambitious moves that we make, and we've been very successful with them. But also at the same time, we've also stood pat and not done jack shit most of the time too. And that's what I would say to this. It's like, go ahead and rumor mill all you want. I don't listen to nothing until it's concrete. You might as well rumor mill that rumor. I'm milling the rumor. I'm out at the mill milling the rumor. You go ahead. I'll wait till it's concrete, like Kilmer Group and Larry Tannenbaum's concrete company. I'll wait till it's concrete, Doug Smith. Yeah, because like, listen, rumors are rumors. Yeah, mutual interest. What does that mean? That don't mean jack shit until you actually go on a date. You know what I'm saying? Mutual interest. Ooh, I have a mutual interest with that person. Woo. Well, have you gone out with them? Have you taken them to ice cream? No, I never took them to ice cream. I just have a mutual interest with them. I mean, seriously, what is this? This is garbage. These aren't words that mean anything. Even what Brian Winters said, Doug Smith, it doesn't matter. Even if it's true, it doesn't matter because it's not anything real yet. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not coming down on Reggie right here. I don't want y'all to think. I have rumor fatigue. I get rumor fatigue every once in a while, being a Raptors super fan and hearing all the damn rumors all the time. I just get rumor fatigue. And I'm like, y'all just stop, please. Just shut up. Just shut up. We don't need to hear your dumbass RJ trade. We don't need to listen about Giannis every single fucking summer, Raptors fans. Let's have some dignity and just be happy with who we are and not want for something more than what we are already. That's like insecure. I'm secure in the Raptors and who they are right now. And I'm not insecure in the point where, oh no, we need to make a big trade right now and get Antetokounmpo immediately because we really aren't that good. That's not how I feel. I'm secure in this team that we're building right now, and I feel real good about it. So there's no desperation. There's no problem on our team that we need to trade like a Jimmy Butler or a Kevin Durant. I don't understand this. It's like, once again, the media forces will use the Raptors as a little pawn in the middle of things, whether it's Rich Paul, Brian Winters, whoever. They will use us as a pawn in the rumor mill. And I'm sick of it in some ways. I'm sick of it. So we're saying, I think the reason the Raptors are involved is because the East is so wide open. Outside of Indiana and Cleveland, spots 3 for 8 are in flux. You add Giannis, it's top 3 spot very likely. No, I agree with this. And that's why, listen, I'll let the experts analyze this and make the decision. The experts is Masai and Bobby. And listen, they've crafted the Kawhi for DeMar trade. You know, I say if they do a move like that this summer, I'll be surprised. But also, I know that's their finishing move. But once again, I'll say what I said yesterday. The Raptors' age bracket for their roster right now and experience is not the same as the year before 2019. And if you do a big move to add Giannis, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to the championship. We could mean that we are going to compete and get pretty far in the playoffs. But in some ways, it's dangerous because we have a young core. And we need to kind of let them develop and grow and mature on their own time. And if you hyperspeed it by bringing in Antetokounmpo, that may fail and that may not work really well because this is not a team with Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Danny Green on it. This is a team that's very young and inexperienced. So if you go and get Giannis, it's not like we may not be as good as the Bucks right away. In some ways. And Giannis may feel like he made a mistake coming here because he's like, these guys are younger and they're behind where I was when Milwaukee. You know, there's all kinds of pitfalls with this. And I say you make that big move like a Kawhi or Giannis move when your age group is ready to compete right then. And our age group is not ready. It'll be like a year or two before, maybe. They can fast track and get there sooner than most age groups. But you got to remember, we had 5 rookies last year that just showed up. And that is totally different than the team that we had in 2018 when they flipped DeRozan for Leonard. And Raptors fans need to think about that before they make these huge grand schemes of Masai's finishing move with the big crazy move. That's what I'm saying. It's more risky to flip somebody like Scotty or RJ for Giannis right now than it is DeRozan in some ways. Because in some ways, he had that safety blanket of people like Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry and then eventually Marc Gasol coming to the team. Because that experience and that long-time veteranness was a big part of why we won that championship. And this team is not overall veteran enough to make the finishing move to just get to the top to get that trophy behind me. So that's kind of where I see it right there. But I agree with you. The East is wide open. And in some ways, that's why I kind of like the idea of taking it a little bit slower right now. Because next year, we could see the Raptors make a huge leap in the Eastern Conference standings with the team we have right now without any move. And then we see where we gauge where we are in that point. And then we maybe do the big move next summer. I know that it's kind of like, well, you got to do it when the move happens. And that's kind of what we did with Brandon Ingram. And in some ways, that's kind of what we had to do with Kawhi. because that portal opens just for a split second. You got to jump through it when it's there. And I don't know. The thing is, I don't think that Giannis, once again, is that critical alert. I am leaving no matter what, Milwaukee. You have to be desperate to trade me right now. I don't think that's the situation. I don't think it's like Leonard in San Antonio. So that's kind of my take on this. And the veteran part of it is very important. The 2019 championship does not happen without that veteran core with Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry and those older players, along with the younger players of Fred and Pascal. You need a little bit more older players that are veteran and more playoff experience. We got to think about how many times those guys played in the playoffs before they were Raptors, and all that experience added up to helping us. Now, Giannis would bring a lot of experience, and he's a champion. So it is a big move. It's a very big move. Very, very big move. But you got to be very cautious making this. And I know that Masai will be very careful. Very, very careful. Trevor's saying Giannis might just stay in Milwaukee and disappoint all the fans who want him on their teams. Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like Giannis is old school, and he's going to be one of these guys who plays on one team for his whole career. And all this bullshit that's gone on his whole career will just look stupid. Because in the end, it'll be just like, yeah, he just stayed in Milwaukee his whole career. And everybody talked about him going every which way all the time. Lakers fans wanted him. Spurs fans wanted him. Raptors fans wanted him. It's like, and he just stays in Milwaukee. Watch. Seriously. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Rapid Free crew. We're having a Canada against Canada NBA Finals. Montreal versus Montreal competition. Ontario versus Montreal competition. All the Canadian competitive spirit. Going to be awesome. Yeah, it makes me proud. It makes me happy. And that's why I wanted to take a stream to make light of this moment of Canada arriving more and more. And it is very symbolic in people like Lugetz. Very, very symbolic. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying she will only play for the Sky this season on a 1-year contract. Well, that's a good okay. So you're saying Kia Nurse is on a 1-year contract with the Sky. Is kind of like she's been doing 1-year contracts the last couple of years. She was on the Storm 2 years ago. Then she was on Sparks last year. And this year she's on Chicago Sky. So she's on a 1-year contract. She'll be off of it next year. Maybe she is lining up to try and be playing for Toronto. I'll bet you it would make things a lot easier for her with her TSN work is if she's playing for the Toronto team and she's still working for TSN here in Toronto. That would make her job the same city. That would be pretty good. That's good news. I like that she's only on a 1-year contract. I don't think things are going good in Chicago this season with so far. So in some ways, she may not be like, yeah, I don't really want to hang around here. I'll go ahead and go home. And I'll even maybe give Toronto a fair price on me on a free agency. That'd be cool, man. Cool Cat saying Raptors might have inquired about his availability, but that does not mean anything if Giannis is not interested. He's not coming unless he can be guaranteed a competitive chip team around him. Now, I will say this. The statement is that there's mutual interest. That's what Doug's saying. So if you're making Doug a liar if you're saying that if Giannis is not interested. No, Doug is reporting that Giannis is interested in playing Toronto. But it doesn't mean anything, honestly. So it's like, because that's just interest. That doesn't mean the legwork or the reality of working it all out or getting through the Milwaukee front office being hard asses about what they got to get. Like they've said publicly, we're going to gut the team that gets Giannis from us. Do we really want to get gutted, guys, just to get Giannis here? No, I don't. That doesn't sound pleasant. We don't need to gut our team to get Antetokounmpo. Our team's fine and whole on its own. It's like, stop looking to be somebody else than you are. Be comfortable in your own skin and be happy who you are and celebrate who you are in your own skin. Raptors franchise and roster fans. Come on now. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, I need to make some changes on my roster. My shooters are not shooting. They're waiting until a playoff run. You've got to make sure you set your lineup every single day. And you've got to, if you can do waiver wire stuff, that'll really help. I've been masterfully using the waiver wire this year. I have 17 moves already this season, way more than anybody else. And that's no coincidence that I'm number one in the league for doing that. Now, the waiver wire has not got a lot there. There's not a lot of players that aren't on our rosters that are on the free agency wire. So you got to do a little bit of flipping around and stuff like that. And with players that really aren't your significant players to do what I'm doing. But yeah, Cool Cat, keep going. In some ways, they're saying that you have the least percentage of being in our playoffs, and 8 out of the 10 teams make the playoffs. And you have a 42% chance of making the playoffs from your performance. That's not good. That's not good. You got to get going. You got to get going. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Good morning to you, MJ. Hope you're doing good. Today, we're doing a little bit of a Montreal-centric stream right now. And in fact, I want to tell you the straight goods on Canadian goods. I said earlier, maybe you have a mutual attraction or interest with someone. Well, maybe you want to take them out for ice cream at Le Diperet. That's right. Le Diperet is a Montreal-based ice cream shop. And you can go down there and get hard ice cream, soft serve ice cream, milkshakes, donuts, cheesecake, cakes, popcorn, smoothies, waffles, razzle, sundaes, cookie dough, cookies, refreshers, Dippin' Dots. You know, Diperet has all kinds of great goodies and fun snacks. A great place for a after dinner date. Go there and get dessert. But yeah, very centric around Montreal. The locations of this franchise, Canadian owned, Canadian goods. Go on and get your ice cream from La Diperet. That is my straight goods on Canadian goods today. That's right. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Cool Cat saying parity in the league is going to make this summer very interesting. I suspect a lot of team changes. Yeah. I think that what's happening is it's a really interesting thing. Like this happens, the reaction is this. And I think what's happening is, once again, teams will overreact to failure. And, you know, a lot of teams that should have gone really far in this playoff failed this year. They failed. And even the Knicks, they got to be soul searching, even though in some ways this is the most successful year they've had in forever. You know, the Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, everybody's got to kind of look at themselves in the mirror and say, why the hell didn't we get further in the playoffs just now? What was our weakness? And what do we got to do to change? And well, the thing is, with the way the salary cap is, in some ways, you can't just bandage yourself with free agents and spell it out of your ass and just not lose anything. That's the way teams in the past would handle this kind of thing. Oh, we weren't good enough. Well, let's just go out and get the highest free agent this summer, pay it in the tax, and just kick some ass that way. Well, that's not really the way to do it. So this year, there's going to be more trades because of this. And in some ways, what's going to happen is we're going to have our island of misfit toys, guys that are not in a good place and need to leave, like Kevin Durant and Phoenix, and they're going to match up and say, all right, well, how is your shitty problem on your team? All right, well, we have a shitty problem here in New Orleans too. His name's Williamson. Would you like to trade Durant for Williamson? We'll just trade your problem for our problem. And yeah, all right, yeah, we'd love to see Zion in the Valley of the Sun. And Kevin, you come on down the Big Easy and become a Pelican. That's what it's going to be. It's not necessarily going to be fun trades or happy trades. They're going to be like, let's trade our problems for other problems on other teams and shake up the league this way. So it's true. There probably will be big name trades, but honestly, they're not going to be what people think. They're going to be more like, I'm really sick of this player. And you know what? You could get this person. Maybe it's something like Jaylen Brown gets traded for somebody on the Cavs or something like that. And they say, you know what? We can't work with this anymore, but we like this player. What would you trade Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown right now? You know, something like that. That kind of shit could happen too, where they kind of just shuffle between two teams. But I think that it's going to be very trade oriented this summer. Big agents, free agents, that's not necessarily going to be the highlight of the whole thing, even though LeBron, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Fred VanVleet, these guys are the top free agents this summer. They may get overshadowed by big deals for people like Kevin Durant, maybe possibly Antetokounmpo. So, yeah, it's interesting. I believe them that this summer is going to be wild, but it's going to be different. It's not going to be like the ones from before. It's going to be very trade-oriented in some ways and less free agency-oriented. That's what I'm predicting right now. That's what I'm predicting. Yeah. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. Any trade for the Greek Freak had Scotty going the next way. If you're the Bucks not asking for Scotty, you need to be fired. Any trade for Giannis guts your team. Trade unlikely. Yeah, that's why I feel about it. I'm with Infamous on this. And that's what I'm saying. Like, could we do what the Pacers did to us when we traded Siakam and say, look, if you want Scotty Barnes, nah, man, you know what? We want to trade you what we want to trade you, Giannis. You need to be they have to be in a bad place where they have to absolutely get rid of Giannis. We want leverage. We want to be able to dictate things kind of like the Pacers did with the Siakam trade. No, we don't want to trade Nebhard. No, we don't want to trade Benedict. No, you get this guy and this guy because you're in that bad place. So if Masai and Bobby are smart, master negotiators, they don't have any reason to talk to Milwaukee unless the Milwaukee is in a bad place and they can really leverage them and they can fleece them. So it's like, why talk to Milwaukee if Milwaukee's being a hard ass and say, nah, we want Scotty Barnes no matter what, and say, all right, I'm hanging up the phone. Bye. Because I feel like that's how they should act on that. Seriously. Seriously, there ain't nothing wrong with our team right now. You don't have to help Milwaukee out. Is Milwaukee really that desperate to move Giannis right now? I don't think they are. So I think everything's going to work out, and he's just going to stay there. Seriously, I could see this happening. I think Ibis is right. Good morning, everyone, from Trucker Cast. Good to see Trucker Cast. Stargate saying, look, there's a mutual interest with every single team in the NBA for Giannis. Every NBA team beat writer is writing the same thing. They're saying the same thing in San Antonio and Miami. Yeah, maybe they're just trying to get a hype. Maybe there's a indirect pressure by the NBA to the Milwaukee Bucks to move Giannis because they're sick of him being in that market. And in some ways, they're telling all the beat writers, hey, y'all start making more rumors about Giannis, and maybe we can dislodge him from the Bucks franchise. Because honestly, we haven't been happy with him in that market. He's such a big, huge star, and we need to get him somewhere else. And even if he's on another small market team, it's new and fresh. So it'll make it feel good. And in some ways, Adam Silver wants new and fresh Luka to the Lakers. So it's like, I could see it being like that it's subterfuge in the league, that they want to pry him out of there because they don't necessarily like him there. And maybe Giannis is actually very loyal and happy to be there. And in some ways, this is all bullshit because the NBA wants him out, but he doesn't necessarily want to be out. You know, Nako's saying the Knicks are still a good team. Knicks, Cavs, and Pacers are making the playoffs next year. Easy is wide open otherwise. No, man, this is not how to propagandize, Gerald. These teams are horrible teams that failed in the playoffs, and they need drastic changes, like firing Tom Thibodeau, like trading half of their all-stars in Cleveland, like imploding I'm only talking about the Pacers. They're still alive. But yeah, those teams need to be destroyed, Gerald. And we will put that propaganda out there because they're failures. And they'll never get anywhere near the Larry O'Brien. Obviously, New York Knicks. I'll be a supervillain for y'all. You'll never get there. and same thing for Cleveland. Yeah, y'all suck, man. Y'all were such a good regular season team. Y'all should be looking yourself in the mirror and say, how the hell did this happen to us? Indiana took us out. And it's like, yeah, you should be all worried and sad, Cleveland, and make some moves. Yeah, make a lot of moves. Make some drastic moves. I love it. Do it now, Gerald. That's what I'm saying. Do it. That's right. Infamous is saying, I agree, Lex. Doug is saying something by saying nothing. It's like me saying the sky will be blue sometime this year. Laugh out loud. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's going to be 11 o'clock in about an hour from now. Okay. All right. It's like, all right. There's mutual interest between the Raptors and Giannis. What kind of interest? Oh, I like watching Giannis on TV. That's an interest. Okay. Giannis, you like watching the Raptors? Yeah, I like watching the Raptors on TV. Oh, mutual interest. I don't know what that means exactly, man. It's very wide open and kind of stupid in some ways. It's like, I hate these kind of rumors, man. I really do. Stargate saying, me too, at Lex. I'm really freaking sick of these rumors and the fans who take them so seriously. Not every report needs to be put on blast like some of you folks do. Yeah, that's not a shot at you, Smooth, because I know in some ways, look, Doug Smith is somebody we do need to report. And as Smooth is saying, he is a bona fide source of reliable news for the most part. So this isn't the normal trade rumor kind of bullshit. And Smooth's good for that. And I know that he's going to bring me stuff that's substantial and means something. And but there's a lot of other bullshit and trade noise and stuff like that I wouldn't respect coming here. But a Doug Smith rumor is okay because in some ways he's in the paper. He's the longtime journalist that's covered our team, written the historical books on our team, We the North. And in some ways he is an insider that is going to have some privy knowledge. But, if it's anybody else, even if you bring Grange's bullshit in here, I might be like, yeah, we don't need to look at this. But Doug isn't, in all fairness to Reggie, we do need to kind of look at this when it's Doug, even though Doug does have he has a track record that's kind of sometimes too with this shit. So G saying clearly the relationship with Masai is what would make this mutual interest true. If it is, big if, how would those reporters know there's mutual interest though? Yeah, I don't know about that either. Yeah, seriously, how? Like, that's a good question. What, did Doug talk to Giannis? Like, what did Giannis say? I had not, Giannis has said some things since after they went out of the playoffs, and he basically said, he's disappointed with going out, but he never really said he wanted to leave, guys. In fact, I heard noise out of him saying that he's looking forward to coming back next year and trying it again with the Bucks. So I feel like these guys are manufacturing something that isn't there because in some ways, Giannis has been, like I said, he seems like he's more okay with being a Buck this offseason than 2 off seasons ago or even last off season. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. I'll have to see. Roger Raymond's here. Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. The Raptors must be allowed to become more mature and seasoned. I totally agree with you. Yeah, the timeline's not right yet. This is part of, we are in a rebuild, but it's confusing because we make a trade for Brandon Ingram and everybody says, oh, we're jumping up and going ahead on the rebuild. But it's not going to speed up Grady, Jacoby, and Jamal and those guys learning and being young and having a learning curve as young players in the NBA, first and second year players from last year. So it's like those guys have got to get more time. In fact, they may need to have experienced the playoffs 1 or 2 years before we make a huge move to really try and do this, because these guys are going to be shell shocked the first time they get to the playoffs, and they're going to fail. I'm going to say this right now. They're not going to come into the playoffs and kick a whole lot of ass just as new players that never been there before. They have to feel what the difference is and really understand what they're training for in their lives. And that is just a part of it. Everybody goes through it. I mean, Oklahoma City went through it. And now look at what they're doing now that they figured it out a little bit better. So there's stair steps to this. As always, my escalator analogy is important. And the Raptors, even though we're starting to jump a couple of steps above some of the franchises in the league that were ahead of us on the escalator right now, doesn't mean we're not near the top and ready to strike for that upper level, which is the Larry O'Brien. And in some ways, we got to do this patiently and build this right. Once again, this isn't a microwave. We've got to do this slow cooker. We got to do this in the crock pot for like a couple days, at least get that seasoning, get that meat loosened up, and just like let this cook for a little while. It has to simmer, and nuking it and trying to do it fast, you're going to get a shitty meal. Is what I'm going to say right there. That's what we all know. You smoke some meat, you smoke it for a long time to really bring out the flavor, and we won't bring the flavor out. We ain't trying to nuke things and then eat some rubber, right? Right? That's right. There you go. Black Dog said, Lex, I agree with you. We shouldn't, we shouldn't trade RJ. However, the people got to talk because our team is relevant. We are not like the Hornets, Grizzlies, Kings, and have very little energy around them. Baby. I like this statement. This is true. I mean, we didn't have a winning year this year, but in some ways, this free agency period, this summer, this trade season, we are a player in the whole thing. And some of these other teams aren't as much of a player. And in some ways, this is something to look at, is that the Raptors are actually getting talked about and rumor buzz. And some other places may not be because they don't have jack shit going on there. Poverty franchises. That's right. I said the term poverty franchise. Oh, man. Why did I do that? It's not good. Stargate saying, not only that, Lex, what they are attempting to do is distract the focus away from Golden Boy Cooper Flagg not wanting anything to do with playing in Dallas. That's the real story that hasn't come out yet. I love it. Stargate has always got it, man. He's got it, man. He's a usurper. He's one of those guys that's going to throw something in the works to mess it all up. I love it, man. He's right. I feel this energy too. I mean, they are hyping the hell out of Cooper for sure already. I think that they had this really cute little plan to pair him with Paige and all the advertising in Dallas. But in some ways, they may never get that little cute little pairing of Paige and Cooper in Dallas market. They may never get that shit. Trust me, because of this, what you're saying. Man, wouldn't it be crazy? Like, I know can he do this still? I mean, could he go back to Duke? Go back to Duke real quick, Cooper Flagg. Do that, man, just to fuck things up, really screw things up, man. Adam Silver would be pulling out the little bits of hair, little bits around his ear, this left. He'd be like, I don't have any more eyebrows. Maybe that's why Adam Silver don't have no hair on his head at all, because he's plucking all that shit out from stress. Cooper Flagg does not want to go to Dallas. He's getting up in there, getting them nose hairs. He's getting them eyebrows pulled out. He ain't got no eyebrows. That's probably why. It's some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's hilarious, man. I love that. Neil Sam, what do you mean he don't want to play in Dallas? He's the number one pick. He doesn't want to play in the West. This is well known, Blackhawk. He's from Maine. He wanted to play for an Eastern Conference team. And he's very disappointed that he's playing for Dallas because his family won't be anywhere near him. And that's important to him. I don't think his family can travel with him. And they wanted to be somewhere close to Maine. His ideal team is the Celtics. He really wants to play for the Celtics. Let's just put it that way. What if the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown for the number 1 pick and Cooper Flagg was a Celtic before he even started playing for the NBA? That could happen. I just said that. That sounded like something that could totally happen. Seriously. Jaylen Brown is on the Mavericks all of a sudden. That would make the Mavericks a serious contender with Kyrie Irving and all them there. Although I hope Kyrie does not come back to Dallas. He's a free agent, and he should tell that genocidal owner to fuck off and go stand with Palestine on somebody else's team instead of generating any more income for that bitch and her fucking war on the Palestinians. So yeah, Kyrie, use your heart, and you know what's right, and your people. You need to leave the Mavericks this summer because you cannot help that woman make any more money to pay for bombs to blow up children. I'm telling you right now. So I would say that. That's why I don't wish for any success for the Mavericks, because the Mavericks directly fund the bombing and the blockade and the destruction of the Palestinian people in Gaza. So fuck that franchise forever. I wish that franchise was still owned by Mark Cuban. I would love it and respect it still. But no, the new owner is an absolute bitch. And she's the worst. Like, she's the exact opposite of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban was one of the best owners in the entire league. She is one of the worst owners in the entire league. So I wish all the worst things for the Dallas Mavericks franchise forever because of that bitch. And she should be on trial for war crimes. Honestly, seriously, this is serious shit. This goes way beyond basketball. And the fact that the Dallas Mavericks got the first pick in the draft is fishy as fuck to me. And I hate that fucking franchise so much. If any of y'all are fans of Dallas and you want Dallas to do good, I'm not going to be going with you on that. In fact, I might cuss the Mavericks a lot this year if they have success because of this bullshit. So anybody who's a closet Mavericks fan here, you're not going to get along with me on the Mavericks this year. Fuck her. Fuck the Mavericks. Fuck genocide. And that's more important than basketball to me, man. That's more important. And Kyrie, you need to walk away from that franchise this summer. If you sign back with them, I'm going to say you're a man of no principles. You said you stood on all this shit and different times. I didn't stand with you at times because I thought you were crazy. But more and more over time, I respect you and like you more because you stand on your shit and you stand for who you believe, what you believe in, Kyrie Irving. So believe in standing for Palestinians and walk away from that fucking franchise this summer. Seriously, you're a free agent. You can do it. You can do it. If I were you, I would. I'd say, fuck you guys. I'm out. I'm not going to contribute to helping you profit anymore so you can buy bombs to blow up little kids and women in Gaza. Seriously, man. So every time I talk about Dallas, that's what I'm going to bring up. Genocide. So y'all can root for Dallas because you think it's a fun team with Klay Thompson and Davis and all this shit. I'm going to say genocide. And you go ahead and you live with yourself rooting for a team that's going to fund bombing of children. So you go ahead. That's what I'll say to that. Wayne said, morning, Raptor Freaks. Judging from an analyst's talking points, we seem to be the only ones who predicted an OKC Pacers NBA Finals. We called those teams from the quarterfinals. Well done, Raptor Freak. I didn't even call it from then. Seriously, Wayne, I wanted this finals matchup at the beginning of the season. Yep. You could probably go find the receipts at the very beginning of the season. I said the two teams I want to see in the finals are the Pacers and the Thunder this year. I said that in like September, y'all. Seriously. We can go back and look. The whole entire year, these are the two teams I wanted in the finals. This isn't just a couple weeks ago, Wayne. I have pined and wanted the Thunder versus the Pacers since the very beginning of the season. And I know that's for sure because they are high Canadian content. And I knew these are teams that I would root for, and I'd feel really good rooting for in the finals, just like I do in reality right now. But yeah, no, let's not get it twisted. I wanted this matchup. I may not have predicted it outright because I was like, well, the Celtics, the Cavs, but I was saying my ideal finals matchup for this season before the season even started was Indiana versus Oklahoma City. Obviously the Raptors, if they had gotten there, but being realistic, I was like, these are the teams that are realistic to get there. I'd love Pacers versus Thunder to be the finals this year. And I said that before the season even started. Isn't that crazy? I love that we got what I wanted, man. Seriously, we're all very happy for it. I know that. Kaloy saying, morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Hey, Lex, what do you think about reports that the Raps are hunting for a big fish? I think that that's what we do. That, if we were on a early Saturday morning programming at 5 a.m. on a channel, the local access channel, yeah, we're out in the boat. And we got the big rig, and we are looking for a big sailfish. But it doesn't mean we're going to reel one in this season. That's what I'm saying. No, that is his move. That is Masai's move. We've seen it. He does the big move. That is a Masai trait. So I agree that it's probably true. And they are inquiring. Now, whether they pull the trigger or not on a big move is another question. But obviously, they're going to be feeling out whatever is going on this offseason. And Bobby and Masai will be quick to act if there is something they calculate that is absolutely the best move for the Raptors. And, they're gutsy and ballsy enough to trade DeMar for Kawhi. Yeah. This is our move. This is like in a video game, you have a fighter that you fight as. They have a finishing move. This is our finishing move as Masai Ujiri, is to do a crazy, huge move. But this is the thing. I don't think it's too early in the fight. I don't think it's the right time. I think that this kind of move needs to come either as early as next season, off season, or maybe 2 off seasons from now. I think it's too soon. I don't think you try and do that this year. I think that the way the NBA is starting to change and evolve, like with the parity, as Cool Cat's saying, is that this is going to be norm for the off season going forward. That, whatever's happening with the turmoil and things happening, we've seen this consistently the last couple summers. Kevin Durant 2 summers ago, Dame Lillard last summer. This year, maybe Giannis. I don't know. It seems like there's a big name floated every summer, and that Masai and Bobby may have a target for a big name every single summer going forward. So it's like, do we really have to be impatient and jump on a big move right now? Because the way the league is trending, these malcontents and opportunities are going to be happening every single summer going on now. So I don't know if they got to do it now. I think the timing's not right with the age of the age group. That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying. Stargate saying just that, Blackhawk. He doesn't want Dallas to draft him. He doesn't want to play there. That's so hard in understanding that number 1 pick or not, he doesn't want to go there. This is awesome. It's poetic because there's been so many different times, just Steve Francis in Vancouver, that people have done this. Like, it's funny to see it happen in an all-American town like Dallas, home of America's team, the Cowboys. Nobody wants to come to Texas, play for Dallas Mavericks. What are you doing over there? You better get down here, you Yankee. Cooper Flag, you better get down here. We want a flag in Dallas. They never take our flag from the Alamo. It's this bullshit, man. It's like, I could see this being true because, like, seriously, he didn't seem that excited being the first that Dallas won the lottery, then the lottery draft, right? They showed him his reaction. He's like, oh, Dallas got the number 1 pick? Oh, that's not what I was expecting. You know what I'm saying? He may have been happier if the Wizards had got the number 1 pick, y'all. Seriously, he may have been happier if the Wizards had got his number 1 pick, because at least it's just like a little fly down the Atlantic coast from Maine than fucking going halfway across the country to get to Dallas. So, it's priorities and what the player likes and cares about. This could very well be like a Kawhi shit. You go ahead and draft him, Dallas. At some point, Uncle Dennis is going to come over. Well, I don't know if it's Uncle Dennis for him. Maybe it's Uncle Jim or something. Uncle Jim going to come by and say, Cooper, you got to come home, man. You got to come home. All right, Uncle Jim. I'm going to go like Kawhi and listen to my uncle. And you're coming home to Boston. I'm telling you right now, maybe the Boston Celtics already know this, and they're trying to line up some stuff, and they're willing to do a flip a little bit to start Flag's career in the Boston green. I mean, I don't hate that. Go ahead and put Cooper Flag on Boston. I love it. Do it, man. That means you're going to be trading something big out of there, and Boston's going to have to be in a little bit of a mini rebuild, and they ain't going to be as much of a threat next year if they did this. So you go ahead, trade Jaylen Brown to Dallas for the number 1 pick, Boston Celtics. Ooh, I love that. I love that. That would be awesome because Jaylen Brown would be free. I could actually root for him. Well, not totally, because he would be on that genocidal team. But either way, I mean, come on now. This is what we're talking about, right? That's right. That's right. Trevor J saying, Raptors fans, there is a saying, hurry dogs eat raw meat. Stop. Continue your chickens before the eggs hatch. This is one of the weirdest words of wisdom I've ever heard in my life. There's a saying, hurry dogs eat raw meat. That makes sense. The dog's in a hurry because the owner's going to come back in the room and they'll see them getting the steak off the plate. They're in a hurry. Now, if anybody's going to talk about cooking things right and put it on the right temperature and the right time to cook, Trevor J is an expert on this and going by his cuisine in the pictures. So, yeah, I get this, man. That's hilarious, man. I'm going to start saying that. You know what? Hurry dogs eat raw meat. So stop hurrying so much. That's right. Continue before your chickens hatch. That one I don't totally get. I don't totally get that one. Neil's saying he's off the auction block. He has to accept it. It's too early in his career to pull a Harden. No, it's not. They gave him all the power in the world by over touting him. They gave him all the power in the world over touting him. He could be a little dick. Oh yeah. This is part of the problem with propping up people way before and making them bigger than they are. They can be prima donna a little bit. They can, because the hype is already there. And they could say this. They have more power than you think. You'd be surprised. Cooper Flagg has more power than you think right now. He could hold out. He could do all kinds of shit. He could do all kinds of shit to fuck this up. And watch, he might. We'll have to see. Maybe he'll play ball. But I'll tell you what, if he shows up there and he goes there, he's not going to be there for long. He'll probably hang out for like a little while. As soon as he can get out his rookie contract, he'll leave. I'll bet you money. So Dallas, you go ahead and invest time in the number one pick, Cooper Flagg. He won't be there long. You can maybe get his early development years, but he's going to fucking take off from your team. If you don't want to be there in first place, well, that's your right to draft him, but know what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. You might be better off drafting Dylan Harper at number one. Seriously. They might be better off doing that. Seriously. Stargate saying at Blackhawk, that may all be true, but he doesn't want to play in Dallas. That's a fact. I feel that energy too. That is a fact. Seriously. I mean, everybody's been kissing his ass and telling him just how good he is. His shit don't stink. What do you think? He's going to be a little arrogant and be like, yeah, well, I don't really want to play in Dallas. And maybe be a little shit about that. Seriously. I don't think he does want to be there. I got that energy and that feel from it. They won't overtly say it because it's a PR nightmare for the NBA. But yeah, I could see this being a huge problem in this. You know what? That's part of the joy of this. You know, Nico Harrison going to pull a fast one to Adam Silver and make this whole bullshit convoluted thing with Luka trade and then getting the number one pick. Well, just because you do things and you set things up, I love it when things get thrown a monkey wrench and everything's thrown upside down because it doesn't go as planned. You think you have such a dastardly plan, Adam Silver. Let's do this with Dallas. And what if there is some sort of snafu, some sort of mess up? Oh, I love that, especially when they think they're getting a fast one pulled and there is some sort of problem with what they're doing. Man, I love that. Oh, yeah. You go ahead and try and do the easy route. You do some shenanigans. You do some crazy convoluted trade to the Lakers to help them, and you gut the Mavericks, and then you give them a gift, and then that gift doesn't work out, and that doesn't work. And, oh man, that's just très magnifique is what I'm saying right here. I am a hater of the Mavericks, and Neil, if you're a fan of the Mavericks, you're not going to want to talk about the Mavericks with me going this season. Trust me, you're not. That's right. G saying Giannis has 4 very young children. This is a very good point. They seem to be about family and stability. I don't think he wants to uproot them like that. This seems more about how he can force them to build a better team. Yeah, and that's actually been the case. G's right. Original Raptor Freak Trivia Champion G is saying the truth. Is like, look, Giannis has used the threats of leaving to try and prod them into doing more, to give him more around him, to make the team better. So I could see that. I could see that it's kind of like he's more bark than bite on actually wanting to leave. It's like, maybe it's like, you guys, I may not want to hang out if you don't get up off your ass and be a better front office and give me what I want. What is this Kyle Kuzma shit? Why did y'all do that? You traded Chris for Kyle and he's an absolute loser. You know, I mean, I can see this. G's right. The pattern has been there. This is what he does. Stargate saying, don't be surprised if Dallas pulls another okie dokie on everyone with that number one pick. Yeah. No way. Okay. Not talking about smooth. Okay. Don't be surprised if Dallas pulls another okie dokie on everyone with that number one pick. What do you mean, okie dokie? I don't know what that reference is. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Trevor saying Stephen A. Smith looks so sad on ESPN today, not yelling like he's having an argument, speaking very softly. That's so good, man. I love that so much, man. I really do. Trevor, I'm going to give you a dunk for that news. That's hilarious, man. So that man's got no braggadocio today. That man came back to work on Monday, and he's very forlorn. I love it, man. That's so good, man. I'm being a hater on today's stream. I don't care. 96 for Trevor on the dunk charts. That's awesome. I love that Shaq dropped the F-bomb on the last broadcast of TNT. I saw that clip yesterday. And I'm like, I love it, man. Shaq just dropped that F-bomb. And the touching tributes, the things that those guys were saying to each other on their last broadcast, man, it's really sweet, man. You know, like Shaq calling Chuck his older brother and, you know, talking about meeting Ernie in 89. and Chuck talking about, how blessed he is for switching to TNT before he was going to go work for NBC. Dick Ebersol had asked Charles to come and work for the NBC crew originally, and then some TNT guys got in between and said, we'd actually really like you to come to Turner. And he did a about face and said no to NBC and went to Turner, and he hadn't looked back. And he says it's the best decision he ever made. No offense to NBC. But I like also what those guys were saying about the ESPN guys like Stephen A. Smith. He's saying, we're coming. We're number one. We're going to kick your ass. And it sounds like those guys are going to come in like pirates into the ESPN flagship, and they're going to pillage. They're going to come in there and eviscerate people verbally. And I hope Charles Barkley gets chances to be on the air with Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, Bob Myers, and other of these jabronis that have worked for ESPN for a few years now. And I hope he absolutely verbally destroys them for asinine, stupid ass comments. And he's just the reality check that these guys needed. And we all needed to see ESPN get checked like that. I love it. I hope they do come in there like outsiders, just like a wrestling angle, like the outsiders, Hall and Nash showing up at Bash on the Beach with Hulk Hogan and forming the NWO. Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, and Charles at ESPN Studios coming in there like the outsiders and just raising hell because they're like that. Oh, that may make ESPN more fun. ESPN, listen to me, seriously. You want to make this more entertaining for me instead of your asinine, stupid ass, hollow, dumb ass arguing and fighting and trade rumors and fluff journalism that you guys have become. That Charlie Steiner is rolling in his grave because of how shitty you've made that channel. You want to do something cool? Why don't you go ahead and let those guys come in there like Hall and Nash and Hogan and make a new world order on your channel and let Charles Barkley be unleashed on those motherfuckers and tell them how it really is. Woo! I want a front row ticket for that. That would be awesome. They did have that energy, though, when they were talking about it at the end. Yeah, we're going somewhere new, and I'm going to tell you guys we're going to come in there. I have a lot of respect for that channel, but we're coming in there, and we ain't taking no prisoners. It's kind of like what Shaq was saying. And then Chuck was saying, I agree, ESPN is the number one sports channel ever in the history of television, but I'm telling you, we're coming in there, and we're going to tell it like it is. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. We need somebody in there to tell it like it is on ESPN because they ain't been doing it for a long time now. And they need y'all. They need y'all bad. Seriously. Y'all may save ESPN in my eyes. Seriously. They give y'all way more time on there than those other jabronis. Yeah, I might watch them more. I might watch ESPN way more than. It's crazy. Yeah. Stargate saying Lex's deal. Ingram, Oshai, and this year's 9th pick for Giannis. That's it. Yeah. That's the deal I put out there a couple weeks ago. And I feel like it's very fair. And I feel like if we could do that, I would do it, Masai. But that is it and only it. Brandon Ingram got the salary that matches it with the 30+ million. And Oshai is a kid from Milwaukee. The man was born in Milwaukee. It would be going home. You give him the RJ dream of going to play for his hometown team on the Bucks. And you know what? That 9th pick, well, it's just part of it too, to get a player the caliber of Antetokounmpo. That's the only deal I do. I don't go near Barnes. I don't go near Barrett. And I want to keep Emmanuel as much as possible. I may fudge the deal a little bit and say, all right, you can get Ingram and Quickly, but no draft pick and nobody else. You get 2 players then, but not the draft pick if you really want Quickly instead of Oshai and the pick. But that's the only 2 deals I do. Those are the only 2 deals I do. And honestly, I don't really want to trade Emmanuel at all. And the only reason why I would say I would trade Brandon is because we haven't even seen him show up or do anything. In some ways, you can flip him right now, and it won't have too much damage on our chemistry and what we've already built from the year before, because Brandon hasn't showed up and even done anything with our team on the court yet. So we could weather the subtraction of him from our team much easier than a Scotty Barnes, for damn sure. Seriously. Yeah, Mo's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to you, superfan Monique Lawrence. This Saturday, we are celebrating Monique's birthday at the NBA restaurant, Saturday at 5:30 p.m. at the NBA restaurant Queens Quay, June the 7th. I hope you can join us. I'll be down there in person with the classic card box, and we're bringing gifts for Mo on her birthday, and there'll be representatives from the Raptors and Giants of Africa and other great luminaries will be there. So it's, you know what, in some ways it's a birthday party to celebrate Monique, but it's also a great place to hobnob with fellow Raptors, passionate people, from within the organization and the Raptor Freak family like me. So, yeah, I highly recommend this event. It was a blast last year. So please, let's come down and celebrate Monique's birthday on June the 7th, 5:30 p.m. at the Queen's Key NBA restaurant, the first ever NBA restaurant in the history of the NBA. So get down there and let's go. There's going to be a game that night. I was just thinking about this, Mo. Game 2 of the finals is Saturday night, and it'll be starting around 8 o'clock. So are we going to hang out and watch the finals game together at the NBA restaurant? I don't know. How long can we be there? I know it said something like we'd be there 5:30 to 8:30 or something, but that's when the game starts at 8:30. So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll be able to hang out and watch the finals game 2 together at the NBA restaurant that night. I love it. Yeah, let's go. Nako saying, yeah, Kyrie should walk. He's super pro-Palestine. Yeah, he totally needs to. I mean, seriously, I'm surprised he didn't just say, I'm not playing and walk away as soon as she bought the team. Like, seriously, she bought the team while he was there. And he didn't go there when she was the owner. He went there when the other ownership was there, and they took over afterwards. And in some ways, he should be like, nah, man, I can't work for her. I wonder if behind the scenes, he's been very much like in consternation about this. Of course, they're not going to put this on blast in public, like in newspapers, on ESPN or anything. But the internal conflicts for Kyrie Irving may be very, very deep right now. And in some ways, he may be dealing with this behind the scenes privately. We don't even understand it. Like, fans aren't even talking about it. If I was him and knowing how he stands on things like this, he can't be on that team anymore. It's just an ethical issue. That team, I'm telling you right now, the woman who owns the Mavericks is evil as fuck. Evil as fuck. And you should think about who you work for and who you make profit for. Seriously, that's why in some ways at a certain point in my life, I decided I'm not working for any more big corporations. Fuck them. Every time I worked for a big corporation in my life, they always mistreated me, treated me like shit, underpaid me, and I kicked so much ass because I'm a very, very good worker. And they took advantage of me. So fuck them. Fuck corporations. They only want to take your hard work and profit from it, and they don't share the profits with you. And that's part of the problem here is Kyrie needs to walk out of Dallas as soon as possible. I'm telling you right now, he needs to walk. That's right. F San Antonio or F. Oh, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, I can get behind that. F Stephen A. Smith. I thought that was San Antonio Spurs. Randolph saying, June blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. The world is a beautiful place. Help keep it that way by how you treat each other, love and care for each other. I love that, man. That's a basic tenement. Treat people as you would want to be treated. I'm not always good at that. I'm still learning in some ways on that one, but I try to get better every day and be more aware of maybe toxic behavior that I do. I've been a work in progress my whole entire life. And I'll tell you right now, the 20-year-old Lex was a totally different guy. And in some ways, you guys probably be like, that guy's an asshole. I've become nicer as I've gotten older. It may seem like, oh, Lex is kind of an asshole still. Well, you guys got to trust me. I was worse when I was younger. So blessings to Phillips family. And that's right. Treat people good and understand the world is a beautiful place. And let's add beauty to it instead of destroying it. That's right. Environmental regulations matter. Vote no to Bill 5. Fuck you, Doug Ford, for your bullshit. Danielle Smith, fuck you too. We need to protect our forests and respect indigenous treaties, you assholes. That's what I'm saying right now. That's right. I called Doug Ford's office this weekend and told him how I felt about Therme Spa and other things. And I got put on the record. So you can call Doug Ford's premier office and let them know how you feel about things, and they will take note of it. And now maybe they don't care and they throw in the garbage after you call them, but at least you're on record for sending it to them and saying that. And they got to get all a bunch of calls, and he should be following what his constituents say. That's the problem. We got too many politicians that are not following what the people want. They're following what their pocketbook and their donors and their special people that they are doing fucking shady ass shit for want, instead of what the will of the populace is what we want. We want what our leaders should be representing us, is what I'm saying here. That's right. That's right. There you go. Blackhawks saying best we see what we have, make a move in 2 years is right. I agree with this because this is too soon. We're just not in the right place, and we really need to give these guys time. You can make moves, and that's the mistake. Some people say not making moves is a mistake. No. You can stand pat and move forward and have progress with your players that you have already. And yeah, you can make leaps by making big splashy moves. But once again, sometimes those are not like to keep. Like the whole thing with Kawhi was a 1-year rental. It was a splashy move, but it was good for 1 year and it worked out. But I'm just saying, sometimes these big things that happen are not is exactly like going to work out. Like the Luka to Lakers is not going to work out. It's such a flashy big move, and all Lakers Nation feels like they're so powered now, and they're going to be that. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a failure in the end. Luka Doncic in LA is not going to come to anything good. In some ways, Luka's part of the problem. LeBron's part of the problem. The Lakers organization is part of the problem, and their fans are part of the problem. And they are not going to win during the era of Luka there, because in some ways, even though Nico is full of shit, some of what he's saying about Luka is true. Some of what he's saying is true. They're not going to win in there just because they magically made this big deal and all this stuff, and they're all crazy. It's too good to be true, is what I'll say. It's too good to be true. That's right. There you go. Stargate saying, I don't see Jaylen Brown playing for Dallas either. He don't play that shit. That's true too. Holy crap. It may change from players don't want to play in Canada to players don't want to play in Dallas or Texas in general. Seriously, because the politics are stupid ass shit. I mean, the taxes are attractive, but other than that, there's a lot of things about the state of Texas that are not attractive. Trust me. And, Dallas's team in particular. Yeah, I totally forgot. Jaylen Brown is in thick with Kyrie Irving and for Palestine, and he would never play for Dallas either. You're exactly right. Holy crap. Maybe they have to trade Jason then. Jason Tatum, you are a Dallas Maverick, and Cooper Flagg is a Celtic. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. Let's see. Seymour saying draft coming soon. Yeah, this month we got 3 weeks, I guess, 3 weeks and 3 days till the draft, something like that. Before the draft come in, we're going to have the Thursday think tank leading up to the draft. Every single Thursday, we're going to do the call-in show talking about the draft, different prospects coming up. We did Asa Newell last week. It was a fantastic stream. I really, really like Asa. If we're not going to get Common, I want to get Newell. He's fantastic. And I really am standing on this. And the more I think about it, more and more, I think people are overlooking him. And I think that Masai and Bobby, if they picked Asa Newell at number 9, it is not a stretch. And he will pay off very, very well in the long run. Trust me. I'm telling you right now. That's right. Fiercely saying it will be interesting to see what Kyrie does once he hits free agency. I think he's going to leave. I hope he does. I really do. There's some overtures that he could go to LA and join Luka and LeBron there. And LA Nation would be all about that. Kyrie finally makes it to the Lakers. There are more and more overtures that DeMar might come back to Toronto. It's really weird, man. DeMar does have it wide open, and we're in a really good place with him. And maybe because Jakob is still here, we know that DeMar is very bonded with Jakob too, being traded with him away from the Raptors. And Jakob Poeltl playing for the Raptors in some ways would make it easier for DeMar to come here and be on our team again. But I don't know how that works and fits and who we would trade or how that would all work. I wouldn't be against DeRozan being on our team again if he was okay with coming here without Kyle. But there are a little bit of rumors about that. Maybe people should be looking at that more than Giannis. DeMar back in Toronto all of a sudden. That would be interesting, man. Full circle, heal everything. In some ways, he can come back and, get a good chance to try and get the second Larry O'Brien for the Raptors. The dream that he had originally that he got taken away, maybe he can redeem it, man. Seriously, what a storybook that would be if DeRozan returned to Toronto and in the next few years before he retired, him and Scottie went and got a championship. That would be awesome, man. I'd be all about that. In some ways, if that happened, though, I think RJ's the one out because RJ and DeMar are too similar. So I don't know. In some ways, I'm not pining to get DeMar back here. Don't get me wrong. But I would say, look, the rumors about DeRozan coming to Toronto are just as valid as the ones as Giannis coming here. I'm going to say that right now. And so think about that, Let's see. Seymour saying, if Kyrie walks, CP3 will join the Mavs. His best chance of getting a ring. Laugh out loud. That may be true. I don't know. Once again, I'm not wishing anything good for Dallas Mavericks. Fuck them. 2-finger salute for Dallas Mavericks in all kinds of ways. That's right. Smith saying, ultimately, the Bucks are hamstrung, though. No Lillard. Yeah, because he's hurt. He's not going to be able to play next season, right? He's not going to be able to play next season. An aging team with no avenue to improve, rebuild for them. As loyal as Giannis, I don't see him being satisfied with that. Yeah, I don't know. Every player is different, though, man. Listen. All right, he has Lillard there with him. And think about all the years that Lillard toiled in Portland. And in some ways, Dame Lillard could tell Giannis to his face, listen, bro, you got it so good here. Don't trust me. Listen, I thought the grass was greener in other places. And you know what? In some ways, this organization's built and doing things right better than where I was in Portland. We just spun our wheels, and I hung out there for a long, long time. Just give it a bit of chance, seriously. It could very well be that Lillard is trying to tell him, just stay, wait for me to get healthy, because I came here to play with you. And if you take off, this is not what I wanted to come to in Milwaukee. So I don't know, man. I don't know. You can say, you can act like he's going to be. I don't think that Giannis cares in some ways. Look, you got to understand, he's already got a ring. He's a champion. He's bona fide. Sure, he wants to compete, but also at the same time, where is that way against each other? Ring chasing or keeping my family stable in Milwaukee and not moving my little kids? So, what is his priority list? His priority list may not be exactly what you think. And in some ways, winning another championship may not be exactly the most important thing to him, because he's already a champion and he's already got that resume. In some ways, it may be just to see improvement on the team. So even if they do a rebuild, he could have a younger crew with him. And as long as he feels like they're building towards something positive and coming more and more wins, he may be happy. He may be happy. So we don't know. We don't know, Reggie. Monique saying, Carlo JS, I won't believe it until it happens, but it is Masai. It won't happen now, though. Yeah, I agree with this. I don't think the big move will happen this summer. I think it's going to the soonest next year, but probably not. I feel like in some ways getting Brandon in that trade at the trade deadline was the big move for this year. It's just we did it early on. But Raptors fans are never sated. They always want new, fancy, shiny toys. And so they're going to spend the whole summer talking about more and more trade rumors and trade things they could do, when we kind of already did our free agency. And I said that when we did this early this year, when we made the trade for Brandon, this is probably our off season, guys. And I warned Raptors fans then. So they need to chill and understand that that may be true, what I just said. That they ain't going to be nothing this summer, because we already did a move, and it's Brandon Ingram. That's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Seymour saying Bucks messed up with the Middleton Kuzma deal and hiring of Doc. Milwaukee lay off the brewery. I'm going to give a Sheriff dunk for that one. That's hilarious. Yeah, he's making it light that they're drunk there and they're making bad decisions because of that. Yeah, I think that the fact that they've kept Doc Rivers as a coach, continuing to have him as their coach and not just switching Darvin Ham in there, is a sign of this. I think this is a sign of this. Although he's under contract, he probably will step aside and allow Darvin Ham to be the coach when his contract is up. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Maybe Doc just they're enjoying having Doc around. Yeah, that trade with Washington mystified me. Like, you really sold out a guy that was loyal to your team for like a decade plus and was a champion on your team, but that fans weren't unhappy about it. But look, Kyle Kuzma is a garbage player. You traded a solid vet who's been around forever, an institutionalized historic vet for the Bucks, for a loser that put up goose eggs and ran cardio for y'all in the playoffs named Kyle Kuzma. That's just bad GMing. I'm sorry. We may need to give them an alcohol check. What is your BAC, Milwaukee front office? Seriously, you're 2 times over the legal limit, sir. You're going to have to come with me now. Yeah, there may be a little bit of that right there. Yeah, can you walk a straight line? Can you say your ABCs backwards, sir? Please, can you touch your nose? Can you touch your nose? Are you drunk? I think that this man's impaired. I don't think he should be running an NBA franchise. Yeah, all right, there you go. Smooth saying he's the one piece to trade to set them on that path. He will probably not be a Raptor, but I don't see him staying on the Bucks. I still think the best trading partner for the Bucks, if Giannis is going to move, is San Antonio. Because listen, San Antonio's got 2 top 10 picks. They've got all kinds of stuff, and then they could really seriously make a good package going towards Milwaukee. And that's the thing. Milwaukee could be very satisfied with the package, and it doesn't totally gut the San Antonio Spurs. So I think the most likely place for Giannis, if he's not going to be a Buck this year, is he's going to be a Spur, and he will be next to Wemby. He will be next to Wemby. Wemby won't be going the other way. They may trade anybody else on that team, including the very high picks in the draft. But Wemby won't be going anywhere, and Giannis and Wemby will play together on the Spurs next season. If he's not a Buck, that's what I believe will happen. Seriously, that's what I believe will happen. That's right. Smooth saying, how much more can the Bucks do? Realistically, there's nothing except the rebuild. See, this is the other thing. I'm sick of this. Some people are saying that teams always got to be doing something. This is not always the case. Some teams back in the day, when I used to watch the NBA before it was hyper over analyzed and watched like it is today, teams could just exist and just be who they are. There were many, many years where the Bucks were just kind of hanging out and just doing what they do. And this whole idea of, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that because the new NBA talking heads say that you have to be in certain modes and it's all gaslighting. The Bucks can do whatever the fuck they want. If they don't want to be a totally contending team and they don't want to rebuild, they can do that. It's their right. And franchises don't have to go by the rules of what the talking heads say they should do or fans say they should do. Teams could just be in stasis and just be like the Rockets for a few years and hold a bunch of shitty young players and not spend any of their cap and not even try and compete. It's all up to the front office. So don't tell them what they have to do at this point, because they could just stand pat and do whatever the fuck they want. It's no rules on this. And just because talking heads say this is the natural thing you should do when you're in this situation, this is what Milwaukee should do, that doesn't mean that's what they should do. And that doesn't mean that's what they will do. So yeah, in some ways, that's shaping. In some ways, the saying like the talking heads tell you franchises have to be in different modes. You're either in a rebuild or a compete mode. No, you can be in just I'm a team in the NBA and we're just fucking around, hanging around, and just playing games too. This is all made up shit by the mass media. This rebuild. Oh, you have to be doing this. You have to be doing that. Fuck that. We could just be the Bucks and just roll it back and come back. And even if we don't realistically have a chance to compete, we're just going to play the season. And we're just going to hang out and we're going to have a good time. Oh, you're wasting Giannis's life. No, man. We're just playing basketball. He's making millions of dollars and his life is good. So what the fuck is wrong here? You know, the drive to get championships is not the only goal for all the NBA teams. Some of them just want to make money. Some of them just want to kind of like have, development or figure things out. It's like I think that we've come to this point where everybody cookie cutters everybody in the whole fucking league to be the same team. And we especially know this up here in Toronto. It doesn't matter what people say they should do. They could stand pat and do whatever the fuck they want. They could just have Giannis come back. They don't care about whether they're doing this or this, whether they're competing for a championship. I'm just saying. Stargate saying, I believe Giannis is going to stay right there in Milwaukee. I also think the Raptors are going to go with what they have to see what they can do. Again, health is the key. I hope that's what it is. I really don't want them to make a move. As much as everybody else is getting all into themselves, talking about this and that and this. I hate this kind of shit. I feel like the Raptors are good and we should stand pat and just go forward in confidence that the group that we have currently right this second, along with the draft pick we're about to get, is going to be the right group to go forward. I don't think that anything's wrong with this team that we've got right now. We're not desperate. We don't have to do jack shit. This is a position that we've been in with Matt, Masai, and Bobby for a couple of years now, that we don't have to make moves for the sake of making moves like other teams do. We have a good plan and we're sticking to it, and that's what I want to do. We had to move Siakam at that point because the time was running out and we had to do it. We had to move Anunoby. And in some ways, some people say, oh, we waited too long and that's kind of a screw up. No, that was the right time and we got good, just assets for those guys also. So, I mean, everybody's trying to dictate how everybody should be doing things in the NBA, and they need to just shut up. Let the general managers do their job to the best of their ability and be thankful that you wrote for Toronto and you have a very good general manager and front office with the president, Masai Ujiri. Just let them do their jobs. If I was a Hornets freak, I'd probably be a lot more dictating to the front office about what they should do, and I'd be critical way more. And I'd probably be yelling at the GM there way, way more and giving him a lot more crap. I'd probably be a little bit more toxic if I was a Hornets freak. But I would be trying to do it out of the goodness of my heart to make them better. I'd be real with them. I'd be real with them. I'm trying to be real with this too. That's right. Reggie's saying, Giannis already said in an interview he really wants another ring. If he retires without a second ring, it will haunt him. I doubt that. I doubt that, man. Seriously. Bro, this is the thing, man. Everybody thinks rings grow on trees. There are so many players that never got a ring, and like getting just one is a privilege. And in some ways, that sounds stupid, man. Like it's gonna haunt him. No, man, it's not gonna haunt him. He's gonna be happy and he's gonna have a good life no matter what. So I don't see this, man. I don't see this. He got to the top. You know what it haunts? It haunts Charles Barkley, continuous to this day. It haunts Karl Malone, continuous to this day. But it's not going to haunt Giannis. He got there. He got his ring. He's bona fide. And one is enough. Some people can say, oh, I need to get multiple rings. That's just greedy, man. If you really want to get those multiple rings, you better be like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and go do it then. But if you're not, whatever. You can be Giannis and be a happy-go-lucky guy, a family man, a guy who got a championship ring, and you could be perfectly happy for the rest of his life. Come on, man. You're making this sound way bigger than it is. Seriously. He can say he wants another ring. Well, that's what he's supposed to say. He's supposed to say that. Seymour saying the Battle of Montreal, Maturin versus Dort. I love it. I love it so much. It's fantastic. North Montreal, stand up. That's right. Stand up. That's right. Okie dokie, not dokie. It means tricking people. Oh, that's what that means. I've never heard that statement before. Okie dokie, not dokie. Okie doke. Okie doke. That means tricking people. Okay, I've never heard that. I'm learning something. I've always just thought, is that like being sarcastic? You should say okey doke, okey doke. That's what that is. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out. I've never heard that before. That's interesting. Most saying Giannis even said years ago on hungry, how hungry are you? He won't play here in Toronto. I know you remember that episode, Lex. Yeah, I watched it recently. I watched the Giannis episode with Serge for that very part, and he really doesn't mince words. In some ways, he thinks about it very deeply. Serge really sticks it to him. He said, "You ever play for Toronto?" And he's like, got the tea in front of him, the bug tea, and he's like, whether I want to drink it or not. And listen, the man could have drunk it if he really, really didn't want to answer the question, right? But he answered the question. He said no. He said no, and he didn't. He doesn't see it because we got to remember there's two things about this. Sure, he's got a relationship with Masai, but he's also got a lot of pain from the Raptors organization. In some ways, we're the enemy. Seriously, we've destroyed him in the playoffs every single time we played him in the playoffs in matchups. He's never beaten the Raptors in a playoff matchup. So in some ways, is he like Durant? He's going to jump from the Thunder to the Warriors. I mean, in some ways, he has pride, and in some ways, he would be turn his back on some of his Bucks legacy, going to a rival team in the East. Think about that. He's got a lot of pain brought to him from the Raptors organization. So it's not as cut and dry. There may be mutual interest, but there's a history with the Raptors and Giannis. And that has to be taken into the calculations as far as the likable the likelihood of him playing for us. Seriously, I believe him when he said that. He went through every scenario in his head while he was thinking about it. And he was also thinking, no, I don't want to screw up with the Bucks fans and say, yeah, I would play for Toronto. But he can't say that, he doesn't want to close that door too. But you know what he probably decided? It's like, instead of screwing over the Bucks fans and making them upset by saying I would play for Toronto, I'm just going to say outright, I'm not going to play for Toronto at some point in my career. And it is a dumb little game with cricket tea. And it's like a few years ago and things could have changed since. But I'm telling you guys, I think that this pipe dream of Giannis being on the Raptors is something that Raptors fans should have gave up 5 years ago. And it's crazy that it persists to this day. I'd much rather y'all have a pipe dream of Gilgeous Alexander coming here, because that's, and y'all do, that one's more fruitful and more promising than Giannis to me at this point. SGA is younger. And honestly, if he doesn't stay a Thunder for the rest of his life, he has a high likelihood to come to Toronto out of all the teams in the league, if you really think about it, guys. If you really, really think about it. Cool guy saying, we don't know Kyrie's contract details and the players' union CBA. He may not be able to walk. Well, he's a free agent this summer. So, yeah, he can walk this summer. He is a free agent this summer. He's ranked the third best free agent this summer by ESPN. As far as things, LeBron, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, the top three free agents this summer. And so, yeah, he's a free agent. So we'll see. Obviously, he probably did have to play. And after all the fracas he got into with that whole like anti-Semitic training that he had to do, he's probably under watch by the NBA to be a good citizen, because he's already acted out and had some problems and almost lost his career because of it. So it could very well be he understood that, like, in some ways, yeah, as much as he doesn't like the owner of the Mavericks, he has to play ball literally, because that's part of the whole thing that's going on with him and the scrutiny he's been under already in the past. So I hope that he walks and he's able to get away from there. Seriously. Nobody should want to play for her. Seriously. Dallas should be a team that suffers and drought and becomes one of the worst teams in the league, at the bottom of the league for years to come. That is the just energy out there. Ball don't lie is a real thing. That is what should be happening in the karmic world of the world, as far as the whole thing that's going on globally right now. That is what is deserving of that franchise for Dallas. I'm serious, man. That is. It's not for the fans. They don't deserve it, but the owner does. Damn for sure she does. That's right. Let's keep going. Smooth saying, not that it's given he'll get that ring, but I do think he's not long for the Bucks. He's ultra competitive based on his tone in recent interviews and vids. He's gone. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. He's kind of been a boy who cried wolf on this every single offseason, man. And this is the crazy thing. It's kind of like Trump with the tariffs. I'm going to do tariffs, and then he doesn't do them. It's like Giannis is saying this to, like we said, he's trying to put pressure on the front office to do stuff. But honestly, I don't think he really does want to leave. I really don't think he does. I think that he uses this as a ploy to prod them to do more, to try and make them more competitive. And that's what it is. I think that also, I know he's competitive and stuff like that, but once again, this guy, in some ways, he's becoming more and more of a dad, and he's got more family kind of energy, and the priorities of his kids and stuff like that may weigh more into things than you actually think, Reggie. I'm saying, I don't know if he's gone. I don't think he is. He's an old school kind of feel to him, like a Larry Bird who stayed on one team for his whole entire career, Tim Duncan on the Spurs. In some ways, Milwaukee will do everything in their power to try and keep Giannis there for his whole entire career. That's another part of this. They don't want to trade him. They absolutely will only trade him if he absolutely demands it. And that is not the energy he's putting out there right now. It's one thing for him to come in and have, like, in recent interviews, like his tone saying kind of this and stuff. But if he's not outright doing what Jimmy Butler did last year, he's not getting moved because he has to force his franchise's hand. And in some ways, he's going to make the whole entire city of Milwaukee hate him if he goes through with the way he would do it. In some ways, he would be better off getting treated like Luka, because Luka didn't have no choice over it. And the Dallas fans don't hate Luka for what happened. They hate the GM. But if Giannis made a big stink this summer and said, I have to be traded, that's hurting his legacy with his fans that he won a championship with. And they may get really mad at him like we did Vince Carter. So, I don't see this. In some ways, he's looking at the whole big picture. He wants to stay good with his people already that he's loyal with, and they're loyal to him in Milwaukee. I mean, I think you just have eye in the sky thinking like, oh, Giannis is going to leave. Giannis is going to leave. You just want that. I think it's unlikely. I really do. I still feel like that. Even if his tone sounds like that, this is part of his ploy to get them to do better. Let's see. Wayne is saying this. Jumped ahead. My wish for the Pacers and Pascal is to see him win a game with a clutch play. Expect them to lose the championship, but would love to see Pascal kill that narrative. I think Siakam's already done a lot. I think the fact that he got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP is huge because, like you said, it's not likely they're going to beat the Thunder, and there's not going to be probably a chance for maybe Halliburton to hold up the Finals MVP over his head and kind of overshadow Siakam in the Eastern Conference Finals. So in some ways, that's part of the reason why I'm okay with the Pacers going out in the finals against the Thunder, because I want Siakam to get the king shine on the Pacers roster. And there's a high chance that if the Pacers win the championship against the Thunder, that they will name Tyrese Halliburton the Finals MVP. And I don't want that in some ways. I'd much rather Siakam get this and have all the kudos at the top of that team. And in some ways, I know they'll come back and try and make this was really, really close. 5-4 votes out of 9 votes for Siakam, just barely getting the Finals MVP for Eastern Conference. So that's part of what I'm thinking right now. Is part of the reason why I don't want Indiana to win is because of what I just said. I mean, I'm okay if they won and if it happened justly in the way it happens, but I am more leaning towards I want Oklahoma City to win for some reason. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, I mean, he's already given Milwaukee everything. Married a local girl. I don't think Bucks fans will turn on him for wanting to win. No, they will. They will. Because honestly, it'll be sad and they'll feel like hurt because they love him. They love him. And team, you know how it is. Like, seriously, think about this, man. Like, let's fast forward. Scotty wins a championship with us, and we're like in like year 10 with Scotty. And now all of a sudden, Scotty's like, man, I'm sick of being in Toronto. I got to get out of here. And, we are not going to like that. Seriously. So I think in some ways we're not totally on the same page, Reggie. And you may have a different perspective than me in some ways, but I think they're both valid. They're both valid. And I'll say that, you could be right. I could be right. I don't know. We don't know for sure. A lot of this is conjecture and just kind of hearsay and just kind of trying to see it from the outside without really knowing from what's going on in the inside. So let's see. Most saying, yeah, I saw that trade rumor in reference to DeMar, Lex. I think it's nice. I think it's sweet. I mean, him professing that he loves Toronto still on podcasts recently does a lot of energy to say, well, maybe he is good with us. Maybe he'd seen our team, maybe languishing in Sacramento this year and dealing with Chicago, spin his wheels, and San Antonio too. He sees like prospects with the young Raptors. And maybe he's like, I want to go to Toronto and start mentoring guys like Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter, because there can be like my guy Kobe White in Chicago. I see a lot of promise in these youngsters, and I want to be that vet that gives back. That's another part of the DeRozan code. It's old school. It's kind of like the vets teach the knowledge to youngsters to pass it on. And that's really important to DeMar. You can see that in every stop he's made in his career. He had youngsters that he mentored in San Antonio. He obviously had youngsters he mentored on our team with Freddie and Pascal and OG. And then he had youngsters that he mentored on Chicago with Kobe White and other young players on that team. So it's like it may be attractive to DeMar to come full circle back to Toronto and get that mentorship going with people like Scotty and stuff like that. I think that Jacoby Walter in particular would really, really benefit from having DeMar around. They're very much affinity for Kobe Bryant. And in some ways, Kobe's not here anymore. Well, DeMar's still here. And in some ways, if Jacoby wanted to learn more about Kobe, DeMar DeRozan is a great person for him to be around for that. But once again, I say DeMar DeRozan's on this team. RJ doesn't have a place then, probably. And that's an issue. That's an issue for me. I'm going to stay with my hometown guy. Loyalty is everything to me, just like in the DeRozan code. And I have a lot of loyalty for Rowan Barrett Jr. So Mark's here. Good to see Mark back in the chat. Good to see you, Mark. Rumor is that Giannis wants to stay in the East. Thoughts on Giannis to Cleveland for Allen and Garland? I like this. I like this because it shakes things up for both teams. And in some ways, that's an interesting too that go to that way. I would say this: Garland and Allen, out of the 4 Cleveland Cavaliers that are so prominent, they're the ones that are more steady. And they're also the ones that are kind of the more like winning team players. Mobley's overhyped. Without Allen next to him, it'll be exposed. He may play pretty good next to Giannis, but I would love this trade to happen because it would shake both those teams up. And I'm telling you right now, they wouldn't necessarily both be better because of it. And I'm okay with that. I want to make the East worse. So go ahead and overtrade and move guys around and let it be all shuffled up and weird and have a transition period of adjusting so the Raptors can get ahead of y'all on the escalator going up. So go ahead, make that trade. I'll do that, Mark. I would love to see those two teams do that and shuffle it up because that means in some ways Cleveland just broke their team up for Giannis. And that's what we're talking about right here. Giannis is going to break a team up, existing team and how they are if somebody's acquiring them. And I don't know if I want to do that to this sublime, amazing chemistry and feel and vibe around the Raptors roster right now. Seriously, you screw around with that. We have really good chemistry right now. And I don't want to screw around with that. I don't want to screw around with that. Wayne's saying, DeMar being here again guarantees a championship with our current construct. That's a proven veteran with guaranteed inside the paint point production. Will never happen, though. The result is too obvious. I hope that would happen then. If you're saying that could happen. I mean, this is the thing. DeMar, all right, what if we could trade Brandon for DeMar somehow? And that's the move we make. Now, in some ways, some people will say, I don't want Brandon off here for DeMar. Brandon's taller, and in some ways, he's this and this. But in some ways, listen, DeMar DeRozan's become one of the most clutch players in this league, man. He had that streak in Chicago where he made like 3 game winners in a row in 3 games consecutively. Something like that. 3 or 4 games consecutively. DeMar had a game winner at the buzzer. And in some ways, we do need that energy. Now, this is the thing. Raptors fans may have jaded visions of DeMar and failure from LeBronto and the years of the 2010s. But this man has progressed, and he's a different player at this point than when he was on the Raptors. He's left, and he's gone, and he's continued his studies. And in some ways, he's more reliable as a clutch player than ever right now. And he was very reliable as a clutch player for the Raptors when he played for us. So just imagine with the more savvy knowledge and experience and time, honoring and crafting his craft, he's going to be different if he comes back here. I would do this for sentimentality. But once again, if I'm trading a big name off this team, it's Ingram. And it's going to get that big name back. It's not going to be Barnes or Barrett or Quickly. No barbecue going nowhere. But Ingram, BI, Notorious BI3, I would trade him because he hasn't showed up yet. And it's fine to trade him. We trade Brandon straight up for DeMar DeRozan. Would y'all do that? Let's do this, man. Let's do a poll right now. Let's do a poll right now because some ways I could see the argument for both sides. Nah, man, we want Brandon. Brandon is a special talent. He's a former most improved player. He's an all-star. He's all this kind of stuff. Who do you choose? Who do you want? Who do you want? I'm going to write that. Who would you want more? You want more on Raptors. We'll put them in alphabetical order just to be fair. And we'll see what you guys say. Like if you had to choose between the two of them, we could choose either one. Which one would it be? Let's see. All right, the poll is up. Let me know how you guys feel about this. Who would you choose between them? Let's see, Raptors freaks. Let's see, 100%. Brandon Ingram, first vote. There you go. All right, we'll have to see what happens. We'll check on the poll in just a little bit. All right, next classic card. Okay, you're saying classic card. All right, where are we now? All right, here we go. Cool Cat saying the two teams in the NBA Finals have not made a lot of trades. Pacers brought in Siakam 1.5 years ago. OKC brought in Hartenstein and Caruso, team chemistry. Pacers felt they found their franchise player and they built around him and around his strengths. OKC found their franchise player and built around his strengths. This is really good points by Coach Cool Cat, because this is what we are doing with Scotty. And we've been in this mode for doing this. And in some ways, do you rip the heart out of the team just for Giannis Antetokounmpo? And you haven't crafted this team for being around Giannis. So does that mean it fits? Fit means everything in this league now. And in some ways, look, shiny, big names on the free agency market and that are available because they're not happy. That's not the way to do things. And Cool Cat has a really good point here that Indiana had a plan. They stuck to it, and they didn't get distracted by shiny objects nearby. They went ahead and just did what they did. And you know what? They're getting further in the playoffs than other teams that did do stuff like that, like New York. So I would say this: chemistry matters, fit matters in this new league with the salary cap. And that, just getting the best talent at possible on your team is not a winning formula anymore. They have to fit. They have to make sense. You could have a more talented team and you lose, because that other team plays as a team and they make sense and they fit and they're doing things. And that's why the Pacers and the Thunder are in the finals. And all these other teams failed and didn't get there because fit was right with those teams. And as she said, they built around their franchise player, SGA, Tyrese Halliburton. And that is how you win in the NBA now. It's none of this easy, I'm going to make a big move, get Giannis, and we're going to be a championship team. No, that's too easy. And that is actually not how it works. Giannis can have anybody around him who win a championship. Well, why doesn't he win every championship then? So I'm just saying, you got to think about fit, and you also got to be very methodical and stop following the shiny objects everywhere. That's the problem right now. Too many Raptors Nation, it gets ADHD looking at shiny objects. You're like the baby on your back laying in the room, and you got all those toys hanging above you. Oh, there's that one. I want that one too. I want that one too. Oh, I'm trying to grab it. I can't grab it. I can't grab it. All right, let's see. Trevor said they should there should Knicks move on from Tibbs. There should Knicks move on from Tibbs. They should move on from Tibbs in New York, is what you're saying. I agree. Do it. Fire your coach today, New York. I love it. Go ahead. Do it, man. Do it. He was totally the reason why y'all fucked up this year. Fire Thibodeau today, New York Nation. Yeah, and don't look at it as a Raptor fan telling you to do that. Just let Lex say it. All right, let me see. I got a phone call. I don't even know if this is somebody I should answer. We'll just see what's up here. Hello, you're on the air.
Contacted with respect to an urgent business matter. Please remain on the line as your call is being directed to the next available.
No, we don't do junk mail. All right, I don't know what that was. That was a recording. Contact. I thought that was a Raptor freak. Trevor's saying 4 playoff appearances, 5 seasons. Who? New York? Yeah, good job. That's actually good. That would be something to say Thibodeau should stay. But no, it's failure, man. He should go. He's the reason why they lost. He should go. Totally. All right, let's do the Instagram stories. Trevor's telling me to do Instagram. All right, To The Point is analyzing Giannis to the Raptors on their latest drop this morning, y'all. So check out King Brian and his latest drop that came out this morning. Find out in their podcast, is there any chance of 34 Giannis Antetokounmpo being on the Raptors? You can check them out on YouTube. Of course, I'm going to be collaborating with To The Point this week, starting on the finals, doing reactions shows on this finals. So yeah, tune into that. It's going to be fun. It'll be a neat little fun collaboration between To The Point, Raptor Freak Channel. Leo Routen's Words of Wisdom. He's got Monday on there, and he's saying Monday, M is for mindset is a key. O is opportunities ahead. N is new beginnings. D is dream big. A is achieve new goals. And Y is yay, a fresh start. Good morning, Monday Coffee. Wishing you an amazing week. Wishing you an amazing week back. Leo Routen's voice of the Raptors for many, many years, taught the country of Canada basketball. The kid from Kiel, a basketball Canadian legend. That's right. We love you, Leo. Savannah is on the beach, y'all. And wow, she's looking good. And wow, she took the story down, I guess. No, there she is. Yeah, she's on the beach. and she's a thirst trap, and she's just having a great, fantastic vacation in Egypt and Greece. Having fantastic time. Let's see. Norman Powell has got an Understand the Ground youth basketball camp, August the 23rd. I believe this will be at his high school in San Diego at Lincoln High School. Camp day is set. August 23rd. Norman Powell, Understand the Grind youth basketball camp, if you can get over there. I love this also. He's posted this about the Jamaican flag, guys, because he's going to be repping Jamaica now on their national team. He's got a picture of the flag saying Jamaica is the only country in the world whose flag doesn't contain the colonial British colors of red, white, or blue, a deliberate move to symbolize independence, strength, and national pride. I love that, man. Respect to the country of Jamaica and the Jamaican people and Norman Powell, man. That's awesome. I love that sentiment right there, man. And that's cool. Are they like the only flag in the whole world that doesn't have any red, white, or blue on it? That's fantastic. I think that's awesome. Vin Bagnani went to Buc-ee's and got a drink. He's down in Texas, I guess, and he's got a Buc-ee's drink from the Road Trip Essentials back in his home state. So Vin's actually from Texas. I didn't know that. Let's see. Teresa Resch is putting on Pride Week. Pride Month is here. It's June. It's Pride, and Tempo Pride is a thing. They're starting this month in celebration of Pride. Tempo is there with it. Tempo Pride, y'all. They're going to have events and celebrate Pride Month. There you go. June is Jumpstart Month. Let's go, Teresa Resch. Let's go. Pascal Siakam has Act 3 out of his playoff story. This has been the pattern. They eliminate teams like the Bucks and the Knicks, and afterwards he puts out this kind of cool little put together clip that's absolutely fantastic, and it's really good. Watch the Act 3 of Siakam talking about the playoffs, and a lot of the things I talked about yesterday on the evolution of Siakam is in there, talking about never settling for what's happening. There's more work to do, staying on task, not getting too ahead of yourself, feeling celebratory because you won this. There's too much to do still. He's bringing that energy and that wisdom for the young Pacers team that are getting to a new height that they've never been, which is the NBA playoffs this week. So, yeah, definitely recommend watching Siakam's Act 3. This beautiful cinematography is very well edited, and it really is giving you the essence of the competitive nature of Siakam, his psychology about it. And, man, he is DeRozan code. He has it downloaded into him. He lives the DeRozan code. He has the loyalty. He has the love. He has the togetherness with his team and his teammates and his fans. And I love that about him. I love that about him so, so much. Let's see what Jamal Shedd's doing. Jamal's putting on blast his guy, Jarace Walker, who we've heard will miss the first two games of the finals due to injury. But he's happy for his guy going to the NBA Finals. He's got a picture that Jarace posted of an NBA Finals hat. He's cruising around Pacers, NBA Finals 2025. So you got to love it. Jamal is probably jealous, and he wants to get there himself. That's right. Slim Duck has got Morgan Freeman on here saying God removes people from your life because he heard conversations you didn't. There you go. I love that. Words of wisdom from Morgan Freeman. And then Chris has got an X-ray with a dog in the chest and say, huh, what is that? That's that dog in me. So Chris is declaring he has dog in him. He has the X-rays to prove it. It was Andrew Jones' birthday yesterday. I did not realize this until after the stream. So a happy belated birthday to Coach Andrew Jones of the 905. He was getting birthday wishes from the 905 and other places. I added him to the Raptors Freak birthday spreadsheet since I didn't have him on there. I didn't realize I didn't have Andrew Jones, but it was his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to Andrew Jones, a belated birthday. I'm sorry I missed it. I won't miss it next year. Trust me, I won't. Lots of people saying happy birthday to him all over the place. And there he is with his daughter, Ava, working her out hard. 2 hours of work out there with dribbling skills and shooting skills. Ava be hooping, that's for sure. Go Ava. Zach Edey on the links, hitting a small ball far. I'm not sure exactly where he is. I can't tell by the trees. I should be able to tell if it's Canada or U.S. It's probably U.S. is what I'm going to say. He's probably down there somewhere near Memphis. Emmanuel Quickly is working out, and he said something yesterday, and he had to clarify. He said, what if, even if? And, well, he showed us where it came from. It's from a book he's reading, and it's basically a character is telling another character, I'm not totally sure if I can do this. I don't know if I'm ready to go in and do this thing that we got to do today. And the guy says to him, you know what? You're never truly ready to do anything. And you can make all the excuses you want. You go ahead and just go ahead and do it because you're going to not be ready anytime. So just do it. And then he says something like, what if, even if? And, a lot of people probably interpreted that post by quickly because of the elimination of the Knicks this weekend to the Pacers, that he posted it the day after. Maybe Knicks fans saw it and he's like, what is he saying? What if, even if? Like, what if I had stayed on the Knicks? Would I have helped y'all beat the Pacers in this series? Maybe that was the overture a little bit there. Even if, would he be there? Would they lose to Siakam and the Pacers still? I don't know. We will never know that. But in some ways, Manuel quickly doesn't live in a world of what if and even if. He lives in a world of this is what's happening, and I'm going to go do it. And, well, you're on the Raptors, my guy, and you're going to do it for the Raptors. That's right. Let's go get it. That's right. There you go. So Emmanuel clarifying the what if, even if. And I'm sure some other people were probably reading into it too much, especially New York Knicks Nation. He posted the page of the book to prove where it came from, because probably people were saying, what do you mean? What do you mean, what if, even if? And, well, he posted the book, chapter 6, do it anyway. The next morning, Jason woke up to the smell of fresh coffee. Russ was in the kitchen eating the steaming hot breakfast that Jan had just made. As Jason joined him, he looked him in the eye and he asked, so are you ready for your first day? Through a mouthful of bacon, Jason admitted, not really. I've never done a job like this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't know if my training was enough. Good. What's that supposed to mean? James huffed with an attitude. Well, one thing I've learned on my journey is that you're never truly ready. The only way you get prepared and ready is by actually experiencing the thing you're afraid of doing, but that in your gut you are supposed to do. The timing will never be right. There's no such thing as perfect timing. Let me ask you a question. What would happen if you turned your what ifs into even ifs? Oh, what do you mean? I mean that instead of asking yourself. Boom, there you go. A little dramatic reading from Manuel Quickly's Instagram stories about that. Grady's in Boulder, Colorado, guys. He's up in the mountains with his girlfriend, Carla, and he's taken in some very picturesque sights. Please be careful, Grady. There was an incident in Boulder yesterday that was dangerous. And in some ways, I hope that you're just okay. But he's in Colorado right now doing some sightseeing, going up the Royal Arc Trail and seeing some really cool formations. And, of course, he's with his lady, Carla, and smiling, being such a smiley little happy young couple. And they're good times. The good times are here. That's right. Brandon Ingram, let's see what's going on here. He's got somebody on blast. Twinskies. Deuce Golda Juice. I don't know who that is. But, yeah, he's Twinskies. And Scotty's got a picture of Cardi laying down. Beautiful, beautiful dog, Cardi, the Rottweiler. So cute. This is the kind of thing where Scotty's walking around his house and he may see like Cardi laying down. He's like, oh, my baby, my baby. He's writing the words underneath his thing again. He says, beautiful girl. That's what he said. I can read it. Just barely, Scott, because it's underneath your picture in the words. But, yeah, beautiful girl. He loves his Cardi. There's your Instagram stories for today. A little dramatic reading from Emmanuel Quickly. What if, even if? That's right. What if, even if? I love that, man. I love that. All right, where were we? Cool Cat saying, I think Giannis should stay and see what talent he can attract around him to complete for a chip. Listen, another thing is like he could talk to Lillard about leaving Portland and how that went. He may have seen it firsthand, how depressed Damian was the year after he left Portland. I know the grass seems greener on other sides, but it isn't. I'm going to tell you all that. Damian Lillard found that out real quick. And Giannis will find that out too if he leaves Milwaukee. And it's a similar thing. Dame Lillard loves his kids. He loves his children a lot. In fact, he's shown his daughter is a big, huge WNBA fan recently. And he's going to a lot of WNBA games. I commend Damian Lillard for supporting the W and showing up at games and making his face known. And, it's partly because of his daughter and wanting to bolster that league so that she can be, possibly a future star. But that has been one of the hardest things that Lillard went through, is leaving his family in Portland and going to play in Milwaukee. And in some ways, family in that is so important to Giannis too. So the cautionary tale of Lillard uprooting himself out of the place. Now, hopefully Giannis could bring his family with him if he leaves, but that wasn't the case for Damian. So that there's no guarantees. And especially if he married a woman from Milwaukee, like y'all said, that may mean that she's like, my family's here. And Giannis, if you want to go play for somebody other than the Bucks, I'm not coming with you. And your children are staying here. And that could be a deciding factor in Antetokounmpo staying in Milwaukee right there. Seriously, if you think about it. Seriously. The cautionary tale is on the bench next to him. about leaving your family to go play for another team. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Most saying, love what Rowan Sr. said about Canadians in the playoffs and the growth. Heck, even Vince, Canadians are becoming booming via CBC Sports. Yeah, that was the clip from the Inbound documentary, Monique, the one with Vince. I was really happy he appeared in that documentary. Once again, these are points you're getting with me, Vince. When you show up and you put in the effort with the Raptors in Canada and Toronto, you get points with me, Vince. Seriously. And I'm glad that we're in a place where you feel comfortable and like you want to embrace being a Raptors legend and being somebody up on this side of the border. That wasn't the case for 20 years. And now that it's at this point, I'm really happy that you did the Inbound documentary and took credit for your part in building basketball in Canada, because we needed to hear from you in that documentary. You had a factor in it. And I'm so proud that you are embracing your Raptors history finally after the end of your playing career and being in a Hall of Fame and getting things fixed with us this past 30th anniversary season. I'm so happy about it all. The turn of events with Vince Carter in the last year has been exemplarily awesome. And it's a real shining thing for, some of y'all in here have said they really commended me for coming around on Vince, because, you heard how mad I was at him last summer before things got fixed. And, there was some progress and growth personally for myself and forgiveness when it comes to Vince Carter this year. And I appreciate getting the opportunity to be like this with him. Seriously. Kaloy saying, please, Masai, give the current lineup a chance to bloom and not go big star hunting too early in the process. These guys are smart. See, they're smart. They understand this. A lot of the stuff that we say, we're usually right, guys, because we understand the psychology and we respect the intelligence of Ujiri and Webster. And you don't think that they're not dumb. They're smart enough to see what we're saying, that this young crop is not ready for the big home run move to really take it home for the championship. Now, it's different. If you do something like Brandon and you get a guaranteed time period for them to try and win it over time, and that superstar that's coming in is willing to go through the build-up with the young guys, that may be a little different, but that's a lot of what if supposing. And in some ways, if Giannis is not happy with a partial rebuild in Milwaukee, why would he be happy walking into a partial rebuild in Toronto? I don't know. That's what I would say there, That's what I'm saying. Cool Cat saying if SGA wins a chip with OKC, that legacy will keep him there for years. Yeah. But I mean, in the NBA, things can always happen and things can go wrong in different weird ways. Some of it manipulated, some of it just naturally. And, SGA may be pressed to leave that market at some point because his star is outgrowing being on the Thunder. I know I hate making these kind of arguments, but it is true. The Thunder is kind of a market that is not a place where the NBA really wants to beam out from. And they may kind of prod him if he becomes a face of the league to possibly go to a bigger team. And I don't know if he could direct that water to us. On the down low, we were one of the largest markets in the NBA. Nobody talks about that. They act like we're a small market and we don't matter, but we're actually the 5th largest market in the NBA. And if you count Canada, we're huge. We're absolutely huge. So they could actually make a really good argument that it's very healthy and smart to get Gilgeous-Alexander on the Raptors, not just for Canada and interest in Canada, but globally. And in some ways, it's a nice fit. And obviously, SGA would get a dream fulfilled. He would want to play for the Raptors. I know deep down, like in some ways, that's a benefit for us. Being the only Canadian team, this is one of the advantages. We don't have a lot of advantages. We have disadvantages, but one of the advantages is we get the collection pool of all of Canada. And if a good player comes from Canada, they're more likely to be a Raptors fan and have dreams of playing for us. And that gives us an edge on some very, very talented players coming up in the crops, whether it's Zach Edey, whether it's Benedict Mathurin, whether it's SGA. So that is one of our advantages, honestly, that these young guys, they were Raptors fans and they would want to come play for us later in their career. I think you're right that if you're a certain talent like Giannis and Gilgeous-Alexander, those franchises do not want to let you go, and they will pay as absolute much money as they can to keep your services there. That's right. Monique is saying W stream, W vibes, W stream. Let's go Raptors for life. Keep it all at it always Lex. Raptor Freak Crew strong forever. Just keep limiting the comments. Thank you. I needed you recently, Mo. Seriously, I've been going on Lexathons. I'm like, I need my producer to cut me off. I'm talking for 4 hours yesterday, but it was worth it, man. It was a great conversation on Siakam yesterday. If you do watch it, go on times 2 or 1.75 speed because it is a haul. It's almost 4 hours. It's crazy. Crazy. I haven't done a long ass one like that in a long time. In some ways, I was like, I need Mo. I need Mo. Mo would be cutting my stream down. I'm like, I need my stream time down. Cool Cat saying KD should go to the Bucks in exchange for Dame. Why? That's ridiculously weird for Phoenix. Then they'll have 3 of the same player with Bradley, Devin, and Damian Lillard. In some ways, that don't make no sense. Booker and Lillard have kind of been rivals for their career, right? There was a lot of stuff between them, kind of shootouts. That'd be a weird team, man. Because now they got all these players that are paid so much and they can play the same position. I don't think this fits. I think KD is more likely to get traded for Giannis than for Lillard. Honestly, Blackhawks saying majority of winning teams get to winning ways before bringing the final pieces. The trick is getting so deep that you can make those final trades without hurting the team. This is totally true. I'm going to give Neil a dunk for this one. I agree with this completely. And we're not at that stage yet. Raptors fans, we need to be patient. We're on the right track. We have a lot of promising youth on our team, and we need to allow them to grow up a bit. And this is just important. And I think Neil's exactly right. In some ways, we'll get more value out of guys. And this is the thing. If we have too many young players that are bound to get paid, you consolidate like 2 or 3 of them into one solid big vet that puts you over the top with your group that has been formulating and getting better with reps and time. That's what I'm saying. It could be in like a year or 2 from now. We have to make a tough decision between all our wings, and we trade 2 of them away for a guy like Giannis. Something like that. I think that's the move right there. James is saying, what about KD on the Raptors? He's going to cost less than Giannis, plus he likes Toronto. I don't want to go near Kevin. I'm very much on the record that he's it's not that he's washed. It's just that he's a blockade from success for his team. He's just got bad vibes, man. He walks around and he's kind of like always kind of confrontational with his energy on the down low, even if he's not. Some people say he's a great teammate, but man, he has bad vibes. Like he's jaded, man. And the arguments with fans on Twitter kind of show his mentality right now. And then also, like the last couple stops he's had since Golden State have been absolute failures. If he's such a sure sign of success, why is everything he's done since he left Golden State been absolute shit? And not only that, he's an injury problem. So he's fool's gold. I'm just going to keep saying this. LeBron and Kevin will not win championships again until they retire. They're going to be done, and they're not getting another one, either one of them. So if you bring Kevin Durant to your team, you're going to block yourself from Larry O'Brien for a couple years until he's gone. So it's fool's gold. Phoenix thought it was a quick fix. Brooklyn thought it was a quick fix. It was not. And that's why I say no. Nah. I didn't want to get Kevin 2 years ago. I damn for sure don't want him now after the failure in Phoenix. So, yeah, it's non-starter for me. Giannis, I'm open to getting him here because he's still got something in him. But I think Kevin's done, man. He's just too jaded. He's too long in the tooth, and he gets injured too soon. And in some ways, you depend on him. Does he show up when you really need him these days? No. He's more likely to be old and kind of just out there running cardio and not doing what you need him to do in very tough situations. Is he going to turn it on in the playoffs when it matters? Well, he's not even getting a chance to get there because the teams he's on have failed and not even got the playoffs. So, yeah, it's a non-starter with me, James. I'm not anywhere near Kevin Durant. No way. He's on that list. Do not come to Toronto at this point. Don't get him here. No, Masai, do not. Kaloy saying, to be honest, we haven't seen much winning with our current lineup. We need to wait it out. I hope ownership will have the patience to wait for the wins to come, first being going all in on an all-star. Now, there is one scenario that occurred to me recently, and in some ways, this may be kind of like why we did the Kawhi move. It is like, listen, all right, there's some speculation about Masai's contract and when it may be up and whether he'll continue with us. Could it be that part of the strong ambitions the Raptors talking around the league is that Masai does see from the inside on the Raptors that he does need to go all out because the clock is ticking, and that in some ways Ujiri may be in trouble for his job in a year or so, And that if he does something huge, like really put us over the top and get a surprise championship for us next year with one of his amazing finishing moves, like we've been talking about, that will make it really hard for them to get rid of his position like they did with the Leafs with the Brandon Shanahan. And that he, in some ways, he may know stuff about what's coming up than we do. And he may be doing something really crazy on a huge scale because he has to do this, because it's his last big, huge shot before some crazy shit happens with Rodgers as ownership. Could that be speculated? Sure. And could he do it? Yeah. He's pulled it off before. He could do it again. So if he does anything that's majorly huge this summer that we are not seeing, and it's like, holy crap, this just is earth shaking, I'm going to guess that is why what I just described is because he has to prove to the new ownership with Ed Rodgers and Keith Pelly that he is the dude still, and that this is what he's showing them, that this is what I do, and you want me to be here still. So that's the one thing that occurred to me the other day. It was like, man, if Masai does do a huge move this summer that he doesn't need to do, it may be because he's kind of desperate, because he sees the writing is on the wall with things that have to do with his job. And I hope that's not true, anything I just said. I hope that he's ensconced and he's fine and he has a good chance to get his next contract with them. I even hope that Masai maybe the thing is with Keith Pelly and Ed Rodgers is he's like, listen, I understand I've made a lot these last couple of years. I'll take a pay cut just to stay here, but I still want to get this amount at least. And they be like, you know what? That's good. On this bargain, we'll do this, because he might have to take a pay cut per year to go past this contract of being the president of the Raptors. It may make it way more attractive to Pelly and them to keep him on if he does agree to take a little bit less. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all works out. I may be getting ahead of myself, but it did occur to me the other day that if there is a huge move in our front office, that may be because of this, what I'm describing right now. Let's see. Mark's saying Kyle Lowry, I think, is a free agent. Odds Toronto signs him as the third string point guard for next season. Not very good. He's on record already for saying he's returning to Philadelphia. He feels like he has unfinished business because of the dismal season they had this year, that they weren't healthy enough, and he wants to run it back with them. So he is already pretty much 100% going back to the Sixers. So that's the news on the street, and I believe it. He said it outright. He told them straight up, I want to stay here with Nick in Philadelphia, and I will be back next year because I want to see what we're like when we're healthy with this crew. Because I feel like we didn't get a fair chance this year with Paul George being hurt so much. And I actually want to see what this is like. That's what he said. So I don't see it. Neil's saying, that's right. Until we are a plus 600 team, we need to keep picking up high picks through the draft. Teams must prove themselves. I don't know if we have to be a plus 600, but that would be nice. That would be nice. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Mel's here. Good to see you, Mel Bester. Nick's Freak is here. DeRozan is back in his hometown of Compton in California with Sacramento Kings. Why on earth would he go back to the Raptors when he won a ring with them already? He's in a perfect situation. All right, there's a lot of factual inaccuracies in the statement, my guy. First of all, Sacramento is nowhere near Compton. Sacramento is Northern California, and Compton is South California in LA. And Sacramento is the capital of California, too. They are not anywhere near each other, just so you know. Also, he didn't win a ring with us. He got traded the year before the ring, so he did not win a ring with us. So, Mel Bester, your fact checking needs to be in put in place. He doesn't like Sacramento. There's a lot of overtures. He's going to leave the Kings right away, just so you know. That they're not doing things right there. And in some ways, he's got the opportunity to get out of there. He probably will. So, man, Mil Bester, man, that's like you just struck out on one comment. You had like 3 mistakes here. He's not in the perfect situation. He did not win a ring with Toronto, and he is not in Compton. He's in Sacramento. That's not near each other. That's like saying you live in Toronto and you're in New York. That's the same distance, just so you know. You live in Toronto, Mil Bester, because he's actually further away from you to me in Sacramento from LA. I think that's about right. It may be the same distance or about the same. Toronto to New York is about the same distance from LA to Sacramento. We do a little U.S. geography. I'll do a little U.S. geography here. Raptors just need to build their team around a player in the draft and lead their franchise to championship. I'll agree with that. I like that. Kaloy said, let other teams break their team due to panic. Let us grow organically. Exactly. Panicking is never the best activity to change things. If you're panicking and changing things. Okay, so our poll, I'm looking at it, is saying 94% of y'all want Brandon over DeMar in this situation. I mean, that's the new thing, and this is who we got and where we're at, and I like that. In some ways, you guys aren't pining for other things. As much as I love DeMar and I care about him, I tend to agree with you guys. I do. I tend to agree with you guys on that one. Let's see. All right, I lost my place. Bear with me. I'm just gonna find the spot in the chat where I am. Yeah, y'all stop the comments too, because I am over 2 hours and I want to get done. I want to get done. Yeah, and I gotta get through here. All right, here we go. Smooth saying Jared Allen too important to the Cavs. Crazy thought. Donovan Mitchell and Evan for Giannis. Either one. Pick any of the two of them. I don't care. Send two of the main Cavs for Giannis. I'd love to see that. I don't care what it is. It's going to screw everything up for both teams. Watch. And I would love it. Just do it. Let's do it. See, why would a opposing team with those teams say, yeah, go ahead. Do it. Why would I want to do that? Because I know it won't be good for them. So that's what I'm saying. So think about that, trade machine people. You know, some of those people telling us to trade everybody, they're in the same action as I am right now, telling the Cavs and the Milwaukee to make that trade. That's what I'm saying. Wayne saying, Milbester, which ring did DeMar win? Not trading Ingram for DeMar. Definitely not. Yeah, see, there's different people have different opinions on this. And Kaloy saying, sorry, but no to DeRozan for BI. Keep BI, get him healthy, and I think Scotty BI combo will work wonders if healthy. Yeah, I want to see what we've got. We've got to discover it. We haven't even given it a chance. Raptors fans, stop trying to trade something before we've even seen it. That's what I got to say. Mark's saying, yeah, Cleveland will be interesting this offseason. They have a $218 million on their books next season with only 10 players, so they should go either go for it or blow it up. A lot of y'all have been saying they need to run it back, and I tend to agree with that. But that's like good advice. I should be giving them bad advice. No, blow it up. Blow it up. Take advice from a Raptors fan, Cleveland. Blow it up. You got to blow it up. Y'all failed. You're a good regular season team. You're horrible in the playoffs. You obviously are not going to win. So you better just blow this team up right now. Do it right now, please. Just blow it up. Boston, you too. You blow it up too. Smooth saying, I have a vibe that the Cavs might be the Eastern team that gets Giannis. Well, I will say this. As much as we wouldn't want to trade Scotty to the Nets or the Knicks or the Celtics, they don't want to trade them to Cleveland. No, they'd more rather send them south to Miami out of division. If Giannis wants to stay in the Eastern Conference, which makes sense because he wants to stay in the same time zones as his family, possibly, it will probably be out of division. So it may be more likely he is on the Raptors or in the Southeastern Division in Orlando or Miami or something like that, than actually in the Central Division on Indiana or Cleveland. Those are rivals, bitter rivals of the Bucks. And Bucks fans would be pissed if they saw Antetokounmpo playing for the Cavaliers. I'm going to say that right now, guys. I'm going to say that right now. Stargate saying, stop it. When OKC trades for SGA, nobody thought he was going to be this good. We saw the potential in the signs, yes, but not this. People were saying OKC got fleeced. Fast forward a few years. Yeah, I never had a comment on that trade. I have always not had respect for Paul George. So I was open to the possibility that Oklahoma City won that trade. I didn't just slam dunk say, oh, Clippers won with Paul George. No, I never thought that. I actually just waited to see. And yeah, it's totally Oklahoma City got that trade right. Totally got it right. But that's the thing we got to say. Once again, when you think about things like OG for Emmanuel and RJ, it's a similar kind of thing. You can see Barrett and quickly blow up in the next couple of years, and OG kind of still being the same guy he was when he left us. And all of a sudden, everybody will be saying, holy crap, the Raptors actually did win that trade because Emmanuel quickly's turned into Tyrese Maxey on a certain level. And RJ Barrett is continuing to get better on defense, and he's absolutely better player all of a sudden now in Toronto too. So that's that. Yeah, I could see that. Cool Cat saying Tibbs could get another year, seeing he finally resorted to using the bench as a desperation move, and the bench have value. So one more year and force him to use his entire bench all season. What are you trying to help them? No, just fire him. Once again, that sounds too healthy and like good advice, Coach Cool Cat. You're trying to help them? No, I'm trying to gaslight them. I'm trying to give them bad advice and tell them what to do. Fire Thibodeau today. Fire him today. Do it. Stargate saying all they need now is Scotty to declare for the Jamaican team as well. That would be awesome. I'd love to see Scotty on the Jamaican team. Cool Cat saying, I'm happy that Storm and Norman is playing for Jamaican. jam down Olympic team. He is not able to make the U.S. team use your second country. Yeah, he's not on the radar at all for USA, but the Thompson twins could be. So it's kind of interesting. They're throwing their hat into the gauntlet for Jamaica because could they have been a potential U.S. Olympian? I don't know. That's the one thing I would worry about with Scott. If you throw your hat in the ring for Jamaica, will that hurt your chances of being Team USA in the future? And I know you want that. I know very much that Scotty wants to be on Team USA at some point in his life. That's just for sure. He's made it very clear. He's done it in his youth, and he wants to get to the next level and play on the regular Team USA in big places like the Olympics. So we'll have to see if the USA continues to snub Scotty. Well, you might need to go play for that yellow, green, and black, man. You might need to. Yeah, I'll be all about that, though. I'll be big time rooting for Jamaica with Powell and Barnes. That would be so awesome. Cool Cat saying, I had to chuckle that Siakam put in Gilbert Arenas in his clip. Ha, yeah, that was good, wasn't it? I'm glad you brought that up, Cool Cat. I'm going to give you a dunk for bringing that up. Yeah, and he said, I don't care about the hate. Fuck them. Like, I'm not listening to the fans or the talking heads is basically what he said. And he did. He put Gilbert specifically in there because he's so full of shit. He showed disrespect to Pascal in the last couple of weeks. And, well, Siakam has disrespected him back on a higher level, more better quality. That clip is such high quality cinematography and editing. And meanwhile, Gilbert is trashy and all of his takes are trash. And awesome. Siakam put that shot on him. I love that too. Thank you for bringing that up. I gave you a dunk, Cool Cat, for that one. Yeah, that's awesome. Kaloy saying if Team USA snubs Jalen Green, he should play for the Philippines. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah, like Clarkson. I can see that. Seymour saying you called Doug Ford. Bro, you a real one. Yeah, I called him. I found the phone number. And I called his office and they answered. And I talked to this guy and I said, listen, I'm not down with this third mate spot. I feel like Doug Ford is not listening to people and he's being a dictator and he needs to start listening to people and what they want. And whatever shady deal he's doing, he needs to stop. And I want to be put on record for that. I'm sure you got a lot of calls about this today. And yeah, you need to listen to people, Doug Ford. He's like, all right, I'll write it down and I'll give it to the premier, is what the guy said. I'm just saying, man. So we're saying Tyrese Halliburton posted a vid with 50 Cent. I run New York in the background, trolling Knicks fans hard. Good. Do it. Tyrese, you earned it. Thank God that choke that you did at the beginning of the series didn't come back to haunt you, because that choke could have come back to haunt you if y'all were still playing Game 7 in New York today. That would have been really bad. Seriously, if y'all were playing tonight and you were doing this after Game 1 and all of a sudden you're in trouble and you're about to lose an MSG to the Knicks, ooh, that choke meme would be all over the place in New York City. Thank God, Tyrese, that, you and your dad have made some mistakes this playoff. And, well, that would have been a huge one, but you're not going to pay for it. Thank God. In some ways, I'm glad. You did that way too early. That choke was way too early after Game 1, man. Yeah. Look at New York. They're in shambles. If we get DeMar, Zach LaVine will follow. Just a joke. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I'm going to give you a dunk for that, Seymour. That is hilarious, honestly. That is funny as hell. 66 on the dunk charts for our sheriff. Yeah, that's hilarious. I that's maybe another reason why we don't want him, because I definitely don't want Zach LaVine. It's like a weird thing. You get DeMar, and all of a sudden Zach LaVine shows up wherever he goes. That's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. Fiercely saying at Kaloy, I don't think Jalen Green is the right fit for an Olympic team. Actually, he may offer support to that Utah player, Jordan. I forgot his last name, but he doesn't play right, in my opinion. He's a flashy player. He's not a fundamental player in some ways, Jalen Green. I've dissed him a lot. In some ways, Scotty probably doesn't like me for dissing Jalen because he cares about him. I just try to be real, Scott. I mean, it's no disrespect. I have respect for Jalen Green some just because of you, Scotty, honestly. But, yeah, I agree with what Fiercey's saying. Jalen Green, in some ways, is a flawed player. But playing on a team with Jordan Clarkson and being on the Filipino team, that would be interesting to see. I mean, he plays a style that Filipino people like. They may be like, yeah, Jalen Green, come play. But it doesn't mean it's winning basketball. I'll just say that. Fiercely saying that smooth. Tyrese Halliburton's funny. I still have not seen Stephen A. How is he doing? He's really low energy. He's sad. He's in his feelings. Let's just put it that way. Stargate saying, seeing how people get inaccurate information. Giannis's wife is not from Wisconsin. She's from California. Went to school in Texas at Rice. Come on, guys. I didn't know that. Maybe I should do my information. Thank you for fact checking. Stargate, you get a dunk for calling it out and fact checking. So she isn't from Milwaukee. She's from California. Okay. All right. We got to get all the facts straight. And we have to do retractions or corrections. We will always do them if we have to. So let's see. Where's Stargate? Stargate's right there. He's at 81 now on the dunk list. 81. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see. Cool Cat is saying Vince is older and wiser, and he understands legacy. He's a Hall of Famer as Raptors, so it's a great strategy to protect your legacy in Canadian ball history. Rare opportunity. Yeah, and I was actually pleading with him for years to not crap all over his Raptors history like Chris Bosh and really embrace it because it'll be beneficial to you in the future. And he's done that. He's heard it. And in some ways, we came correct to help him get through that hump by just showering him with gifts and love in this past season that made it easier for him to maybe forget some of the animosity from the fans towards him. And in some ways, in turn, I turned the other cheek with him when I saw that he was willing to embrace it and show love for our team and our city. So it's a lot of healing, man. It's a lot of healing. It's very, very, you know what? This was not for sure, Cool Cat. And I'll bet you if the Raptors hadn't done this gesture in some ways, this wouldn't have happened exactly like this. You know, it could have very well gone on autopilot, and for the rest of his career, he could be just like Chris Bosh. But I'm glad it's like this because Vince is vital and very important to the Raptors' history, and that we're on good terms with him again is very special. But I don't take it lightly, and there was no guarantee of this happening. And you could say it's because he's older and wiser. I think it is partly because he's gotten more distance from his career. Because as he was playing, we were the enemy right up until the end. We really were in a lot of ways. Maybe there's a little bit of love 10 years after when he was on the Grizzlies for a second here in Toronto. But there was still a lot of animosity in general towards him from us up here. And totally not totally right with us from his perspective either. There's people in his family that still don't totally like Toronto, I'm sure, because they saw the pain that we caused him behind the scenes and the hate that we're sending at him, like his aunts and his daughter and his mom. You know, these are people that saw things with Vince, with Toronto from the other side, and they were totally Vince's loyal. In some ways, they got bad taste in their mouth towards Canada and Toronto for him in some ways because they love him so much. And those people are still in his lives. I don't know how much they stand for us next to him. Let's just put it that way. And maybe they like what's happened since, and all is forgiven, just like with me. But who knows? Maybe Michelle Carter ain't all about Toronto still. And she still kind of thinks, yeah, they're full of shit and fuck the Canadians. You know, I don't know. In some ways, yeah, this is a business decision, but also it's a healing decision. And it's the right decision to be right with Raptors Nation, Vince Carter. It's the right decision. That's right. Mark is saying OKC is set up to be a top team for a long time. I don't totally agree with this. So many future picks to replace role players. Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet is a good young nucleus. Yeah, I've been talking about this, Mark, that I feel like the NBA is not conducive for dynasties anymore. That even though it seems like this about the Thunder and they're trying to portray this, that's fool's gold once again. That's too good to be true. The league is showing a pattern now of a new champion every year for the last 6 years now. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think that the changes to the salary cap have made it this way. So look at it this way, Mark. And this is what I said the other day. If y'all heard me say this already, it's a repeat. Oklahoma City wins the championship this year. All of their players go up in value, and they're on certain contracts right now. Now, the salary cap's more constricting than ever. Now, Indiana has made overtures that they're successful in win or lose the NBA Finals. They're going to invest and pay over the salary cap for the first time as a franchise, and they may be able to retain a lot of guys. But when you start getting on that second apron, you start paying a lot of guys, you got to make tough decisions. And the thing that I've always thought was the flaw in the system that Sam Presti is building in Oklahoma City is he has too many young players in the same age group. And when they all win, they're going to all go up in value. And just like the Raptors, just like the Nuggets, the other teams around the league will come like vultures and pick the carcass of the team that just won and take some of their cherry people that are important, whether it's key players in the rotation, whether it's coaches that they like from their assistant coach staff. It could be any kind of thing like they did to us, like they did to the Nuggets. So I fully expect Oklahoma City to get picked clean in certain ways by the rest of the NBA through free agency, pricing out some of these young players that are part of their core out of there. They're going to have to make tough decisions. I mean, Chet and Jalen Williams were drafted in the same draft in the top lottery. Both those guys are going to hit with their salaries at the same time, and it may be too much for the Thunder to handle. Also, this league is completely decided not just on how good teams are, but how healthy teams are. And there's no guarantee that the Thunder will have streaks of good health for the years to come that they can build a dynasty year in, year out and win. I said now that it's more likely because of the way things are that teams, if they want to have a dynasty, they're going to have to be like the Spurs were in the 2000s into their last championship with Kawhi. That wasn't a chip every year. It wasn't a repeat. It wasn't a three-peat. It was like, we're going to win this one, backtrack for a season or two, and then come back and try and win one in 2 or 3 years after that. That's more likely than a repeat champion in the NBA going forward. The dynasties are killed by the new season, the new system. And I wouldn't just pencil this in and say Oklahoma City set up to be the top team for a long time. That's not true. The NBA is set up to pick apart championship teams now. And think about that. The price goes up on everybody when they become winners and they get higher standing and other people want their players and they will come get them. So it's really, really hard, especially for a small market team like Oklahoma City, to hold it together. In fact, they may be very similar to Denver and what happened to them since their championship, that there would be a talent drain from that team. Now, your point about them having a lot of picks going forward does help in things. And if they are going to be like Popovich and the Spurs with replenishing young talent coming up underneath Ginobili and Duncan and Parker, they could maybe sustain a level of success for a long period of time. But don't get it twisted. They're not going to get the chip every year. There will be other teams that possibly have better health that year. They may come up and have a antidote for them. Everybody's going to be gaming their system to beat the Thunder since they're top dogs at this point. And that's what happens. The Celtics win last year. They do it a certain way. A lot of people adjust their teams this year to be able to play the Celtics better. And they figure out how to just to beat the top dog. So it's true. Once you get that championship, the target's on you. Whether it's all the teams in the league want to beat you or all the teams in the league want to take your people. So now more than ever, it's just really not conducive to be a dynasty anymore. And if you are, it may be like you're coming back every 2 or 3 years and challenging for the championship like that. So I don't see this, especially since Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are going to have to hit that big money at the same time. One of them's leaving as soon as their rookie contract's up. I'm serious. If they can keep all of them together and pay out their ass in the tax, okay, maybe they can do it. Sam Presti is a good GM. But I'm just saying that was always the flaw I saw in what they were doing and collecting so many draft picks. They're going to have a payday that they have to give to a group of guys, and they're going to have to make tough decisions. And in some ways, cutting loose Josh Giddey last summer was a preemptive decision in that kind of way because he was a glut of too much good talent that's young. So they cashed in Giddey for a vet and Caruso. So it's tough. It's going to be tough. It's harder than ever. And man, that's what I say. You're saying they're going to be good for a long time. I agree. They probably will be. You're right. But to think that they're just penciled in as a dynasty to win over and over again, that's not what you said. I have to clarify that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Fiercely saying Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, much useful than Jalen Green. Yeah. Giannis calling Wolf like Trump tariffs is a dunk, Lex. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Crown Wolf. I mean, he's going to say this. He's going to say that. I'm on a leave. Okay, go front office. Do moves. He's putting the fire on your ass. Go do the moves. Giannis is upset. He wants you to do better, ball boys and tall boys. And get that ladder out of here right now. You know he hates ladders. He just wants organizational excellence. Come on now. That's right. All right, let me see. All right, that was funny, man. That's funny. You want me to get a dunk for that? You're gonna give me a dunk, Seymour, for that? All right, I'll take a dunk for saying that about Cry Wolf. Yeah. All right, let me see. Where is it? There it is. There. Boom. I'm at 21, guys. I got 7 dunks for the year. There you go. Lex at 21, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Cool Cat saying we know every Canadian NBA player would love to play for the Raptors, but they can't say it out loud. They were cheering for us forever. It's in their head. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say that this is probably likely on most of them. And that is so huge for us. In some ways, it's like New York City has had this pleasure. The Maple Leafs have had this pleasure of having a lot of good Toronto kids dreaming of playing for the Maple Leafs. So it's nice that the Raptors have amazing talent. And it's not just from one city. It's from the whole damn country. You know, Zach Edey, SGA, Oliver Ryu, There's some names that are around right now that are powerful possibilities for Canada and also the Raptors in some ways. That's what I'm saying. Mark's saying, how about RJ and IQ to Phoenix for a Booker? He's not worth both of them. No, hell no, not both of them. You can maybe do Booker for one of them. No, I would never do that. I don't want Booker on my team either. We know he has issues with our mascot. Actually, they're buddies now. But I'm not interested in Booker. Booker's fine in Phoenix. We don't really need Booker. I don't see what he would do here. In some ways, I mean, he's a great player, sure. I don't think he's a bad player. I think that he's the best player in Phoenix. Uh, I wouldn't be against him being on the Raptors if we acquired him, but I don't see why we need him or want him. And I wouldn't sell out RJ for him. That's for damn sure. And I probably wouldn't sell out Emmanuel for him either. So, nah, it has to be only one of them. And you offering both of them for Booker? No, that's overvaluing Devin Booker, in my opinion, right there. Cool Cat saying Giannis needs two-way players around him that can shoot threes. Yeah. I don't know what our team is exactly for that. Let's see. Wayne saying Halliburton is a good player, but his behavior is as if he's won something. He lacks consistency, and that means easy work for OKC's stifling defense. It's going to be interesting to see. Some people said Pacers don't have a weakness. Well, it's going to be tested. We'll have to see. Oklahoma City's been a juggernaut, but Indiana has been an unsung team that's really done some surprising things and are a team to destiny that's special. So who knows? In some ways, this is kind of like if it's our championship year, the Pacers are us, and the Thunder are the Warriors. And that in some ways, the team that's more likely to win is the Thunder. But hey, an upstart team like the Pacers could do some magical things, and boom, all of a sudden they win instead. We could have to see, man. No KD. Who wants that? Yeah, nobody wants KD here. I don't want KD here. No, I don't. Seymour saying no because Book and the mascot. Yeah, they have beef. That's right. Stargate saying Raptors merchandise makes millions for the NBA. I see Raptors fatigue being worn by the most unlikely people in the most unlikely places. Raptors fatigues like we're military. All right. So we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to circle back on this since we brought this up, Stargate. I found the map of the rooting interest of the United States for the 2019 finals. And it was what I thought it was. The only 3 states in the whole entire United States out of the 50 that were rooting for the Golden State Warriors when we played them in the finals were California, obviously, Nevada, and Hawaii. Every single state. And this was found by geocoded social media online places looking at stuff was rooting for the Raptors over the Warriors in the 2019 finals, except for those 3 states. So I was right. There were a lot of people in the United States that were rooting for the Raptors to beat the Warriors in the championship year of 2019. So I'm not doing this to rub it in Stargate's face. I just want to set the record straight that I did go look up the map and that is actually what the truth was. Because he was saying he didn't think anybody in the States was rooting for us to beat the Warriors. And I said, no, that's not true. Now, a good point that was made about it is some of the people weren't necessarily rooting for us because they hated the Warriors or because they liked the Raptors. Some people, the default is to root for the underdog. It's because they're gambling or they're betting. And that some of the people may have been rooting for us because it was good for their gambling. Let's see. Wayne saying, no KD. That's right. Stargate saying Phoenix needs to blow that shit up and rebuild. That is one team that probably really needs to go into rebuild. Yeah. I mean, they were already doing a rebuild with Matt Jashiba coming in here, but he's trying to be highfalutin with some fast one with Bradley Beal. That totally backfired. That's another case where it's like, oh, yeah, it's too good to be true. Bradley Beal's coming in right before they change the salary cap. We're going to do a fast one. And it's totally hamstrung them and hurt them since. That no trade clause that he has. Wow. What a ridiculously stupid move Phoenix has done. And their team is awful. They did not make the playoffs. And they are so high paid and they have no leverage and leeway to move with movements in free agency or signings because they are full up with what they have. It's crazy. They're so poorly mismanaged right now. They need to blow it up, but I don't know how they do it. They got to move Kevin. And if they could move Bradley, they would. Trust me, if they could. So we're saying, is there anyone who ruined their legacy more than KD? Nah, you can't say that. I mean, I don't know. Jonte Porter? I don't know. I mean, how do you say that? I don't know. I mean, Kevin is successful on certain levels that needs to be respected. And in some ways, a lot of this extra stuff in his later career will be forgotten. They'll remember this good stuff about him and the Warriors. They'll remember the stuff with him and TUSA and the Olympics. They'll remember the stuff with his early career on the Thunder more than they'll remember the Nets and the Suns. And that the fondness for him will get rectified and fixed, and he won't look as bad. He just looks bad right now while he's still currently playing. But when they get the whole body of work for Durant after it's done, he'll look good. He'll look good at that point. It's just right now he's making it look like shit right now. Yeah. Kareem saying Masai and Bobby deserve more credit. They put this organization to strike gold when they need it. That's the thing. They have flexibility and assets and leeway to make things happen in different directions. And that is part of their strategy, that they want flexibility to leap on opportunities when malcontents happen on other teams like Kawhi Leonard. And that is exactly right. They develop and they make a run in 2 or 3 years. They're doing things in multitasking ways. They have the glut of assets that are attractive to the rest of the league so they can get involved in trade talks. But also at the same time, if they don't do any moves, they're developing their young guys organically within, and they're getting the reaping the benefits of it. So it's really smart multitasking. In some ways, they're allowing and affording themselves to have flexibility just in case, but they're not wasting their time otherwise because they're actually building something as they're doing it. So it's good stuff. Very well-run team, the Toronto Raptors. That's right. Very, very well-run team. That's right. Let's see. There's been no rumors about getting a big name talent. There's been rumors. There's smoke, but I don't know if there's fire. Only speculation from Winders because the Raptors put themselves in a great position. I agree with this. This is part of it because they look around and they see stuff that we're doing and they're like, well, Toronto has so much good stuff. They should be trading with people. And they just assume that. And they don't actually understand, well, maybe we don't want to trade with anyone because we just like our good stuff that we're building. Yeah, thumbs down on Durant. I'm with that. And Doug Smith, man, thumbs down. Yeah. He's in some ways he needs something to write about, man. Doug Smith is in off season. He needs subjects to write about. Giannis is a subject, so he's going to write about it. That's going to be part of it right there. Stargate saying, for all those who are saying trade Scotty for Giannis, he has hang on, it jumped. Wow, thank you for the cutoff, Cool Cat. I really do need it. Let's see. Oh, wow, really did the cutoff there. For all those who are saying trade Giannis for Scotty, has it not occurred to you that one of the things that would attract Giannis to play here is playing with Scotty? Yeah, but we're saying this is partly because Milwaukee would want Scotty if that trade was going to happen. And that's the thing. We could strong arm them like the Pacers did with us with Siakam and say, no, we're going to tell you what we give you, and you'll take that instead. That's the whole thing. If that's not the case, I say walk away from the table, Bobby. We don't have to talk to Milwaukee. There's no reason why we need to get Giannis other than fanboys and little trade machine heads wanting something fun, happy to happen. Some stupid like that. Yeah. Let's see. People just don't think too much these days. They're being taught not to think and told what to think these days. That's what the problem is. Yeah. Look at that cutoff. Cool Cat. Wow. You got the scissors out. Wow. Stargate saying, oh, the Thompson twins want to play for Jamaica as well. Oh, wow. They already committed. They're on the team with Norman. Alman and Osur will play for Jamaica. They are committed. They're there. And most saying serious cutoff, y'all. Serious now. Serious. Kareem saying, everyone who wants to make trades with the team we have right now are fucking cowards. If you watched last season, you would know that the Raptors are in striking distance. Fuck Winders and Doug Smith. There you go. You get a dunk for that, dunk champion. You get a dunk for that. I hope you do come to the birthday party. I need to give you your Doug Smith book. Speaking of Doug Smith. And I kind of slight him in the book. So it would make you very happy if you saw that book, Kareem Thomas. You open the first page and you say, to Kareem Thomas, dunk champion, fuck Doug Smith. And this is his book. You get a signed Doug Smith book that says, fuck you, Doug Smith in it. That's such a great prize, man. It's been sitting here for 2 years. I need to give it to you, man. Stargate saying there's a character in the Stargate show called the Destroyer of Worlds. That's who Kevin Durant is to teams. Yeah, they call him Slim Reaper. And he's not reaping the teams, the other teams. He's reaping your own team, bro. He's in there. He shows up like death at the door with the hood and the scythe. He's like, hello, Phoenix. Hi, welcome. I'm coming in to the Valley of the Sun. I'm telling you, man, Slim Reaper, he's going to kill your chances of your team. That's how it works right there. That's right. Kareem saying, I hate Gilbert Arenas. He speaks with his chest, but he has no hair on it. His takes are stupid, but because he's loud, people think he knows what he's talking about. No, all bark, no bite. Yeah. That all checks with me. I never respected him as a player, and I definitely don't respect him in his post career being a talking head. I didn't really like him the whole time he played. I know some of y'all were fans of his when he played, but I always thought he was a waste. Like he was one of these players that doesn't play the game right. And there's problems with him, and his success in the NBA shows it. That he, in some ways, he got in the way of his own success because of the type of player he was. Very, very talented scorer, but very demanding of the ball. And in some ways, he was that kind of player that got in the way of his team being successful. I can honestly say that Gilbert Arenas was like that for the Washington Wizards for most of his career. Seriously, I can say that. Let's see. Slegdeezy saying 6 degrees of separation. Facts. If we never got Kawhi in 2019, OKC never acquires SGA and potentially still rebuilding to this day. That's actually really true. Wow, you guys are getting dunks today for really astute points. Slegdeezy's right. The Paul George thing. In some ways, that's a gift that keeps giving, and Thunder should be thanking Kawhi with what he did. In some ways, that hurt us, but damn, in some ways, it's a roundabout way of helping Canada that Kawhi left and went to LA and left to Canada because SGA is about to win a championship and be the face of the league for it. So there you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Slegdeezy coming in and getting the latest dunks. We are throwing it down today, y'all. That rim is getting worn out right now. Seriously, 18 on the dunk charts for Slug. Man, you guys are throwing it down. Boom goes a dynamite. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, watch Jermaine O'Neal's take on a Raptors journey with Bosch. What? Is there something Jermaine O'Neal said about Bosch? I would love to hear that. Neil, if you find that, please post it in the Discord. I'd like to see what you're talking about. Find that clip and let me hear that because Jermaine O'Neal is somebody I like to listen to. I should talk about him more too. He does have a chapter with the Raptors. And in some ways, Jermaine O'Neal is somebody I respect a lot in certain ways, guys. Kareem saying SGA was a throw-in. The trade was about accumulating picks. OKC is shit, but if you have 75 picks, you're bound to hit on some. That said, SGA took that trade personally. Man, that was such a mess up. Clippers fans, you have so much remorse over the stupid shit with Kawhi and Paul George and what y'all tried to do. Man, what a waste of time. What a waste of time. There's that cutoff. And Stargate saying Gilbert Arenas is being paid by Clutch, just like Nick Wright. Interesting. I would believe that. And Mark's saying OKC has 30 plus future picks, so they can trade those picks that want money and replace them with younger, more affordable players. Yes, they may not win every year, but they can compete for a long time. I'll agree with this. I think that some people that are trying to just say, okay, Oklahoma City is just going to win the championship for the next 3 years or 4 years. They are being a little bit naive. That's what I was saying. And I'm not trying to say that you said that. We'll clarify what Mark said exactly. He said that Oklahoma City is set up to compete for the long term for a good period of time now. I won't say long term, but at least in the next near short term for at least 5 years, I would think. So yeah, I'll agree with Mark on that for sure. Stargate's giving the cutoff too. Okay, I stand corrected. You're correct, Lex. I don't even remember what I said. Oh, about the map. Yeah, you got to understand, man. People will root for the underdog if they don't like either one of the two. They like seeing the underdog win. And the Raptors were the underdog against the Warriors, and the underdog won. So some people really were celebrating the championship. The media wasn't. And that may be where you got your take on it. It's like the media is totally shading us and not giving us just due. But a lot of fans in their individual lives on their own in person were probably saying, man, that was so cool the Raptors won. That was kind of cool the Raptors won. Sure, there were detractors say, who cares? It's Canada. They shouldn't have won ever. They shouldn't even be in the league. But there were a lot of people also that are NBA fans that saw what happened. They enjoyed Kawhi. And they said, yeah, that Raptors championship honestly is underrated. And I really enjoyed watching them beat the Warriors that year. So you'd be surprised. Kaloy saying, hopefully the ownership is not meddling with the decisions moving forward. No rushing this, Mr. Rogers. I hope so. But if Masai sees the clock is running out, he's going to have to take that shot and try and do it. That's what I'm saying. All right, guys, I got the end of the chat. Let's get that classic card. That's the ritual. We get that classic card when we get to the end of the chat. Let's see if I get somebody good. Okay, yeah, we'll do this. We talked about this today. I'm going to do this really weird. I'm going to hold this very far away, guys, and you have to get it from far away because the card has his name all over it, so you guys got to get it from back here. You can see that. You can tell who that is. So you go ahead and tell me who that is. Full name answer right now, and you know who that is. It's easy. You know who that is. Yeah, if you write it in, this is an eye test. And seriously, if y'all can zoom into that, yeah, easy. Fiercey's got it. It's Jimmy Butler. You can tell from the hair and the thing. It's totally a Jimmy Butler card. If you guys like this Jimmy Butler Miami card to remember his time as the Heat culture as he took it away, you can get this card on Saturday at the birthday party for Monique Lawrence at the NBA restaurant. This will be in the classic card box. This very card as advertised on the show right now, you can have this. I'll give it to you, man. You can have it. Stargate thought it was LaMelo Ball. Okay. Fiercey got in there. Fiercey has some fast fingers, Slug Easy. I'm going to say that right now, that Fiercey has the fast fingers. And that's why she's always a trivia competitor at the top of the standings. So, yeah, Jimmy Butler is the right call. It's not, the distance is impressive. So I might give her 100 just for the distance. So, but it's a 50-point card because it's too easy. Should I give her 50 or 100, guys? I'll give her 100. I'll give her 100. The distance adds 50. So, all right, 100 points to Fiercey for the classic card of the day, Jimmy Butler. All right, let's wrap it up. We're at almost a quarter to 3 hours. All right, guys. We are talking about Canadian content in the finals. It's the highest ever. The best player in the league is Canadian. And we've got 3 starters in the finals that are Canadian, and 4 if you count Siakam, which is fantastic. And I'm all about that. Lou Getz-Dort, Andrew Nebhard, SGA, Pascal Siakam, Benedict Mathurin. You guys, we're proud of y'all. And y'all are symbol of the rising of Canada as a world power in basketball. True North, strong and free. Never 51st state. We are proud of our country, and we love being Canadians, and we always will. That's right. And let's see. Do they have the referees for the WNBA? Man, they're not posting them. Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are sleeping. There's games happening. Y'all need to be telling me the refs. Y'all check out Le Départ in Montreal and places in Quebec. If you want to get ice cream treats or snacks, it's a great Canadian company in that province. So, yeah, you can go down there and get some glace. Yeah, good stuff, man. Check your WNBA teams, y'all. You got to keep up with them. They're like a garden. You got to tend to them like plants. So get in there and do that. Raptors Reddit, you got anything cool today? Oh, they posted the Siakam 3 acts finals bound. That's a fantastic clip. Check that out. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit about Giannis on here. Some of them are asking this. How about this one, guys? Assuming he opts out, as reported, how much money would you throw at Naz Reid to bring him to Toronto? You know, he's actually a piece that could help us because he's a size guy and he's a solid bench guy. I don't know, man. In some ways, I don't think we have cap space to really go after free agents. So most of the stuff we have to do this summer is trade. So I don't know if Naz Reid is realistic. If you're asking me, we're going to throw $15 million at Naz Reid this summer, that's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you that is not going to happen. It's more like we're going to trade for him. They're also going on about Noah Senge, who had a huge performance in game 1 of the semifinals overseas against Wolfsburg. 22 points, 14 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 turnovers, 8 of 16 shooting. I guess we'll make Noah the focal point of our Thursday think tank this week, since it seems as if he's mocked there and a lot of people are talking about him, and he is somebody who's on my list. So the Thursday think tank may be centered around the French guy this week, just so y'all know. Let's see, nothing on Blue Skies. And yeah, we're good. There's no birthday today. Of course, I was belated with Andrew Jones's birthday yesterday. We'll finish up the poll right now. And let's see what you guys are saying. 94% of you guys prefer we stay pat with Brandon Ingram. I get that, man. That makes sense. That makes sense to me, man. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Blackhawk is saying, oh, yeah, you thought that was impressive by Fiercey? Yeah. Blackhawk saying Jermaine said he liked being in Toronto, but he was in the conflict with Bosch skill-wise. They overlap too much. Yeah, that's true. That is totally true. I mean, that was really bad mismanagement of the team around that time. And unfortunately, it's Brian Colangelo. That Bargnani, O'Neal, Bosch, these guys were all stepping on their toes and what they were supposed to be doing. You know, at that point, Bosch was more ensconced and Jermaine was the new guy. And he kind of wasn't on the Raptors for very long, but he was very promising for a while. And I wonder what would have happened if Jermaine could have been there without Bosch, honestly. Because he was at a certain point in his career where he could have blossomed. And it was post-Indiana and the Malice in the Palace. And in some ways, Jermaine O'Neal's career got hurt badly because of that stupid conflict with Ron Artest. And, man, he probably paid a high price. Him and Reggie Miller, the two of them paid the highest prices for the Malice in the Palace. And it's sad. And it's such a stupid thing. I blame those Pistons fans. Are idiots, absolute idiots, man. But I want to see this interview. If you find it, and post it in the Discord so we can watch it, man. Mark's saying, great live and great conversations. Have a great day, Raptors freaks. Appreciate that, Mark Tavares. Hope you have a fantastic start to your week on Monday. The sun is shining. The heat is turning on again after a cold weekend. And I got to get out there and mow the lawn. May is over. So now it's time to go mow the lawn for the first time this year. I'll cut the lawn for the first time. Maybe the only time this whole year. I don't like cutting the lawn very often. So I try to only cut my lawn once a year. And that may be today, guys, right in the middle of the year. That's right. Stargate saying, I would love Naz Reid here off the bench to back up Yak. That'd be great if they could make it work somehow. I'm not against that. Raptors will be in luxury with the draft picks. Yeah, depending on we'll have to see what happens where we are with the luxury tax. I think we're just slightly into it, the first apron, with what's going to happen this summer. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. In some ways, they can't justify spending unless we are going for championships. That's just the way the NBA is. It's just like the Pacers. They got to a new level. Now they got the green light in their front office to maybe spend a little more to keep their team together. But I don't know if the Raptors are at that point yet right now. We got to show more promise and winning and evidence of that. So that may be a problem. Mark's saying free agents will be hard to get unless Tamra C are made or they feel comfortable going in the luxury tax. Yeah, I think that's going to be true for most of the teams in this league at this point. And most saying great discussions lately, even when I'm not here. I appreciate you catching up on it while I'm not here, Mo. Your presence is always felt here. You're MVP, and we love you so much. And I can't wait to hang out with you on Saturday and see you in person and celebrate your birthday with you. June the 7th, this Saturday, NBA Restaurant, 5:30. Come on down and hang out with Lex and Mo and the rest of the crew. We're going to be down there having a good time. And maybe we'll watch that finals game together, right, Mo? Maybe we'll get to watch game 2 down at the NBA Restaurant. We'll have to see. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Tomorrow, Tuesday trivia. Bring your Tuesday trivia hats. I got a great trivia tomorrow. I already know my topic. I won't tell you what it is. And I'm going to write it this afternoon. And y'all expect the fantastic trivia from this head and not some AI bot. So come 9:30 a.m. Tuesday trivia. That's right. That's right. Oh, you meant trades are made. Trades are made. It's hard to get unless trades are made. Yeah, that's the new trend. Free agency is going to be different now. It's going to be much harder because cap room is scant across the league. And it's really about matching building blocks on your team as far as trading players that can match salary. And that's how you can kind of change your team chemistry and what you got. I think that is exactly right. All right, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors and not trade. We got a good team. Let's go see what they are.